Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Download the Wendy's app today.
Welcome in. How are we doing here on a Tuesday already? Having off on Monday really screws up your week, thinking what day it is. Welcome in. See Sparky Fiber with you. Charlie Hughes on the other side of the glass. My thanks to the franchise. Tim Allen for filling in yesterday. And, of course, Hot Stove Weekly comes up tomorrow night from 5 until 7. The two newest Milwaukee Brewers, according to the Freddie Peralta trade, Sproat and Jet Williams, both will be on the show tomorrow night with Tim Allen and Tommy Wirtz from 5 to 7. So make sure to tune in for that one each and every Wednesday. Always good stuff. Okay, coming up on today's show, Cody Alexander is going to join us in the next segment, second segment of the show from matchquarters.com. We've had Cody Alexander on this show before. He's really, really good. And when they hired Jonathan Gannon, he did a complete breakdown of Jonathan Gannon as a coordinator, talking about schematics, talking about adjustments, and giving his thoughts on just how good or not good Jonathan Gannon truly is coming in to be the defensive coordinator. So we'll dive into that with Cody Alexander coming up here at 2:20. Looking forward to that. Outside of that, we're guest-free the rest of the way. I might have a Bucks guest in the 4 o'clock hour if I hear back, but other than that, we're pretty much guest-free. Charlie Sounds of the day, normal time slot at 3:40. Green and Gold update brought to you by Potawatomi Sportsbook coming up at 4. I will tell you now, this will be rather Packer-heavy outside of at 3 o'clock. We talk some Giannis. We'll get some Brewer stuff at the end of the show and things Sparky missed. But other than that, pretty Packer-centric show today. Just saw a report, I believe it was from Adam Schefter, that Jim Leonard, who most of us wanted to be the defensive coordinator of the Green Bay Packers, now appears like he might be in position to be the new defensive coordinator instead. Where did I see that he was going? The Buffalo Bills?
Buffalo Bills,
yeah, correct. Buffalo Bills, who are bringing in Joe Brady, who is their offensive coordinator, to be their head coach. Now, I am a big Joe Brady guy from his time at LSU. So Brady becomes head coach. Very well may go get Jim Leonard to be the defensive coordinator. Two young dudes doing their thing out in Buffalo potentially. And Packers, no such luck. Never even talked to him. So Jonathan Gannon is the Packers defensive coordinator, and I'm sure Tim Allen and Charlie Hughes talked about this yesterday. I was tuning in and out of all the shows on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network throughout the day yesterday. I had the day off with my kid doing some stuff with him and one of his buddies, their day off of school, so I was in and out of my car. But this is what I want to know. Because I'm curious. I'm just kind of curious. What exactly does this defense look like for you as a fan that this is a successful hire from Jonathan Gannon? Like, what does this defense look like? Like, is it as good as Hafley's defense was prior to Micah Parsons getting hurt? Is it creating way more turnovers than this defense did last year? If they do that, but they fall back in the defensive rankings, that's okay. I want more turnovers for my defense if this is going to be a good hire. Like, what is going to make this really, at the end of the day, a hire in which we say, yep, that was a home run hire. Good job, Matt LaFleur. The one nice thing about Gannon is because he failed in Arizona as a head coach, I don't think he's leaving after 1 year as defensive coordinator to become a head coach again. So I would imagine you get him for at least 2 years. That would be my guess. And then if after 2 years defenses are really good, which, again, you would hope they are, then you're in a good position. I haven't really given my thoughts on Gannon yet, but I will do that now. We'll open up the phone lines as well to you. What will make this defense a success under Jonathan Gannon for you? Because I don't want to play this game of, it wasn't even as good as Hafley. They never should have hired him. They should have hired Jim Leonard. Like, draw your line in the sand now. What do you want to see out of this defense that makes this a good hire by Matt LaFleur? Because there are some out there that are spinning the hell out of this thing, trying to make it sound like they just hired, a Hall of Fame defensive coordinator, which I don't believe he is. So there are a lot of people out there like that, and then there are others that are skeptical, like myself. Nicolay Law Talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. First off, when this news got announced My tweet was, my first choice, right? One. I would have loved to see Jim Leonard. I was good with that. That's the way they wanted to go. I was cool with that. I was cool with Parker, but he wasn't available by the time the Packers decided to make their move. Then this Durante Jones character out of Minnesota, he's a young, hot up-and-comer. I was okay going down that route because he's coming from a defense coordinator and knows his stuff in Minnesota. So, okay, that would have made sense. I would have been okay with that. I don't think Gannon was even in my top 5 if I had to make a list. My guy was Jim Schwartz. That's who I wanted. And now it looks like he's going to be the head coach in Cleveland. Why? Because nobody else wants the job. That's why. That's why he's going to be the head coach in Cleveland. If we're just being honest, nobody else wants the job, and he'll take it.
Well, the process is stupid that they're making people go through. They're making it seem like they're an Ivy League school that these guys have to reapply for every year. Like, it's nuts. You have to do an essay. You have to do this whole presentation for the board.
Don't you worry. One of their guys is running the Bucs now, so get ready.
Great, because it's going to be so fun for coaches to not want to come to the Bucs too, because they have to go through this whole process. It's stupid. Of course he's going to be the head coach there because he's going to be the only one who wants the damn job.
I'm telling you, Jimmy Haslam just – again, and I don't want to get this into a Bucs tirade, but this whole thing, I mean, if you go back and trace it, when did this whole thing start going downhill? Literally when he walked in the door. Literally. Since the time he walked in the door, this whole thing went off the side of a hill. Everything completely went sideways. But again, I'm not going to blame him for all of this, but it's coincidental if nothing else. So if Schwartz ends up with a head coaching job, then fine. If he doesn't, then he's going to want to be a defensive coordinator somewhere else more than likely. And as long as this is taking for Cleveland to figure this out, I don't know where he's even going to go to be defensive coordinator because these staffs are filling up quickly right now. So Schwartz was the guy that I wanted. Instead, you get Gannon. Is Gannon bad? No, he's not bad. He was great in Philadelphia with a lot of talent. And there's this list circulating around social media about all the guys that were great under him. Right? All these guys. Man, TJ Edwards was so good. Blah, blah, blah. Josh Sweat did this and da. And I don't want to fight with people on social media. I'm past that. Like, I'm too old to fight with people on social media. I don't want to go back and forth with people all day. But my tweet that I wanted to fire back every time I saw it, because it was like the same list over and over again, was good. Now show me Arizona. Show me the guys in Arizona now that have been unbelievable for him in Arizona. Now, our guy that we're going to have on here, Cody Alexander, it appears, I've not talked to him, but it appears he likes Gannon a lot. And he goes back to last year talking about how good this defense was until injuries got a hold of this defense, and then they fell off the side of a cliff. That's funny because in Green Bay, when injuries happen, you're not expected to be able to use that as an excuse. You're expected to perform like everybody's 100% healthy, and if you do not, you should be fired. That's Packer fans' ways of going about things with the Packers themselves. Oh, I don't care that all of these great players are hurt. Win at the same level or you're an idiot. Okay. So that appears to be what happened with Gannon. There are a lot of things that you could point at. Now, number one, he wasn't calling defensive plays in Arizona, right? The guy that was calling defensive plays in Arizona, now they're talking about, because the Packers now have 2 openings on their staff because they've lost 2 guys to Miami. Well, maybe they're going to go get him and bring him over and put him on the staff. Okay. But think about this for a second. If I would have told you at any point this year that Jeff Hafley was going to leave to be a head coach, you would have said, yup. And then if I would have said, and the coaching staff we're going to take guys from are the Arizona Cardinals, you would have said, you must be joking. Right?
No.
Yes.
No.
Come on.
Arizona Cardinals, like you mentioned already, had a ton of issues with injury this season. Their biggest problem was their offense. It wasn't their defense. They had to focus and rely on Trey McBride on 5-yard passes consistently for that offense to get anywhere. They had no run game. Their wide receiver room until Michael Wilson just came out of nowhere halfway through the season was completely useless the majority of that time. The defense was able to figure it out.
That was the other thing. So their fourth quarter numbers, like 27th or 28th in the NFL. So I saw that post. I was like, let me go through and look at all the comments on this one. Do you want to know what I found? This is what I found. The offense can't get off the field. It's screwing their defense. Like, it's not fair to them. Then I got a lot of, well, they wouldn't play the prevent to win defense all the time. They wouldn't be in that situation half the time. So people were arguing with each other in this long line of comments on social media about why they were so bad in the fourth quarter every game. But if you're talking about the offense not being on the field and the defense being out there, ain't that the Packers from this year? Isn't that what we're talking about? So Matt LaFleur didn't want Jim Leonhard. I'm convinced of it at any freaking point. When we had on our guy, Arrigo, last week, right? Mm-hmm. And he said Leonhard was his choice. I laughed and said, I don't see it. He's the only one that doesn't mesh with what LaFleur wants. Every other candidate on Joe Arrigo's list played the bend but don't break defense. Everybody drop back in zone and watch your guy. Don't give up explosives. Leonhard did not fit that at all. That's not him. Leonhard is Patton, Rex Ryan, aggressive, going after the quarterback, that type of mentality. What you got here is just another version of what we just watched, which, again, if you think you can get pressure with 4, great. But if Rashawn Gary is being cut, who's going to be the other guy getting pressure with Micah Parsons? Who's that guy? You're going to sell me on Lucas Van Ness is going to get 10 to 12 sacks next year? Because I'm not buying that. I don't care who the defensive coordinator is. So if that is how they're going to play, and it appears by all standards, this is how they're going to play, the same complaints you had about this defense last year, it's not going to change. It's going to be more of the same. And as far as, well, he'll be creative with Micah Parsons. Well, I thought Hafley was fine with his creativity with Micah Parsons, moving him all over the line of scrimmage and doing different stuff. I mean, he's not going to line him up at corner and go, okay, blitz from the cornerback position. You can only do so much with an edge rusher. You can line him over in the middle. You can have him coming from different angles. Okay, fine. I just don't know how much more that's really going to change. Then the other thing I see, this is good too. This one is, oh boy, Edgerrin Cooper, he's going to be amazing with this dude. If that ends up being true, then it's a great hire. 1,000%. Because that's the one thing that irritated me about Hafley. Like, you have all this athleticism. He barely ever went after the quarterback, and he barely ever was in a position to really make big plays. And when he was, he normally did, right? So if he can get that out of Edgerrin Cooper, if he says, I'm going to get this dude is going to be an all-pro with me, great hire. Then I'm cool. But outside of that possibility, that X factor, Keyshawn Nixon, the Pro Bowler, I don't see that changing and getting any better. Carrington Valentine on the other side. And then it's, I like playing my safeties play well in that defense. Well, that's good. But we've had good safeties the entire time. McKinney, Evan Williams, like, fine. But McKinney, who was Mr. Interception last year, was not Mr. Turnover this year, was he? So again, I go back to what really is going to be the most important thing of what you want out of this defense with this new defensive coordinator once he officially takes this thing over and is calling the defense when we're out there. You know something else? I'm fired up if you can't tell, because I've had all of this just bottled up inside of me.
Watch kids yesterday.
This is why I should not take days off of work, because then I've got like all this bottled up. I just want to.
Surprised you didn't call in yesterday.
Yell and scream. So the other part about this is this. Jeff Hafley, did y'all watch his presser? You watched it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Jeff Hafley gets asked about, hey, man, so you're going to call plays on defense? Yep, going to call plays. Okay. So, Jeff, you going to be on sidelines? You going to be up in the booth? Jeff Hafley says, oh, man, no, I think it's very important to connect with your players. I'm going to be on the sidelines or whatever. Yeah. First of all, you're the head coach. I've never seen a head coach in a booth before in my life, right?
That'd be crazy.
But the other point in all of this is he going to be as good? Because you can see a whole different perspective up on top of what the opposing offenses are doing when you're up on top looking down than you can when you're on the sidelines and all of this is just flashing in front of you and you're trying to figure out what's going on and then calling your next play. I'm curious to see what this Hafley defense looks like with him now calling plays from the sideline. And now when you get Gannon, is he going to go up or is he going to stay on the sidelines? I would guess he goes up. I mean, Capers was upstairs. A lot of these guys are normally upstairs when they're coordinators and not head coaches.
Yeah, I would assume he's going to be upstairs. I think that's part of the reason, though, why it was so important that Jeff Halfley brings in guys like Sean Duggan from the Packers staff in order guys that he trusts that can be up in the box for him and kind of communicate those same things in the same
He's
system.
been with that dude for like 20
Forever,
years
since Boston College.
Right.
So this is a relationship that he has, somebody that he trusts that can go up there and speak the same language as him and see it from that perspective. He's going to keep building his defensive staff that way so that he doesn't have to be up in the box to see those things. He just has people that are like-minded, like him, up there doing it for him.
All right, coming up next, we're going to talk with Cody Alexander, matchquarters.com. He likes Jonathan Gannon, I believe, based on the stuff I've read from him. We'll get his thoughts on Gannon coming up next. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Don't forget, when the Bucks win, you win at Wendy's. After every Bucks win, stop by any participating Wisconsin Wendy's for a free small vanilla or chocolate frosty classic. No purchase necessary. This offer is only good for 24 hours after a win. So act fast and get that free small frosty classic at Wendy's. Welcome, man. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Thanks to everybody listening on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, WNFL 99.7 FM in Green Bay and Appleton, Wausau 93.9 The Game, Duluth and Superior 710 The Game, and in Milwaukee on the Fan 1250 AM and 105.7 FM. Thanks for everybody tuning in on a Tuesday, a cold Tuesday at that. Joining us now on the guest hotline powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. He is Cody Alexander, matchquarters.com. You can see his smiling face right there on X and on YouTube at WI Sports Radio. Cody, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it.
All right, man. So I'll just be honest with you straight up. I'm not excited about this hire of Jonathan Gannon as defensive coordinator. I'm not there. And I read your stuff. I was off yesterday, so this is my first day back to kind of like let it all go there in the first segment about this hire. But I read your stuff. You seem more positive, more upbeat than I do about this. I was like, okay, let's get some yin to my yang. And you obviously are far more intelligent in football than I am. So let's talk about this first. So Jeff Hafley's defense, which was a lot of zone, playing everything in front of you, watching teams drive down the field, hoping for mistakes, in which the DBs dropped the football for the Packers, and then hoping to hold to field goals at this point. What difference will the casual fan watching the game on a Sunday see between a Hafley defense and the new defense?
I do think if you go back to when Gannon was at the Eagles, I do think that you're going to see a little bit more man coverage. So I do think that's a pivot that he can go back to. I don't think you're going to get the 3 safety system that he was trying to run in Arizona. I think that was part of the fact that it was a combination of we don't have players the first 2 years we're there. We also have 3 really good safeties. That's who we want to stay on the field, but we want to play kind of that odd front, that 3-4, and kind of how can we get in that? And then having Budda Baker just allows you to do so many different things because he can play linebacker, he can play safety, he can do a lot of things. So I don't think that package comes, but I do think that the philosophy of what they're trying to do is going to be relatively similar. When you cluster a lot of these teams, when you start looking at, okay, blitz rates, how much are they, what kind of blitzes that they're running, what are the coverages, zone to man, all of those things. You do see Arizona clustered in with, Green Bay a lot of the time. So I don't think that the philosophy wise that this defense is going to change just kind of wholeheartedly. I don't think you're going to get a completely opposite look.
Packer fans wanted Jim Leonhard. Jim Leonhard appears to be headed to Buffalo potentially to be the defensive coordinator there or here at some point. When we talked about this last week, we went over the candidates. I was like, Jim Leonhard's defense does not match up with everybody else on this list that we're talking about as far as what they want to bring. Leonhard is a Mike Pettin, Rex Ryan type defense, more aggressive, more blitzing, more of that type of thing. So when he didn't get the job, I guess I wasn't overall shocked or surprised at this point. But when you bring up, well, you might see more man-to-man, with all due respect to the Pro Bowler Keyshawn Nixon today and Carrington Valentine, I don't like their chances playing man-to-man at this point either, which leaves you to have to play more zone.
No, I 100% agree with you. And I think when you look at this roster, the corner room has to get fixed. Like you haven't had a premium corner really since Jair Alexander was kind of before he kind of fell off a cliff. So I think you do need to rebuild that corner room. That is something that's going to have to be rebuilt. My point with this is that when you do have corners that they feel comfortable with playing man, I think that he can do that and he wants to do that. I think the zone is here to stay. Everybody says that it's bend don't break, but it's really a lot more nuanced than that, especially with what I think that he was trying to do. If you go back and you look at what he did at the Eagles and then kind of what he was doing with the Cardinals, it was a lot of quarters is what he's really known for. And they ran really good quarters coverages. This wasn't the country four that we see a lot of times where, the pundits love to call it a shell defense or,
right,
like 4 guys back. You're not getting the deep ball. We're trying to force everything down, kind of like what Hafley was trying to do with a lot of these cover 2 rotations. So he wants to play some matchup. I think it's interesting if you look at his background too. He does have Eberflus in this background, and so
that's not going to help the argument.
I know it's not. But my point with that is that he is not running that system. Trust me, I'm in DFW, so I hear it all the time. So I've heard it enough. No, but my point is that I think when in 22, when they really wanted to get Vic Fangio, they already had Gannon. I think he learned that system, kind of adapted it to what he has. It showed back up. I think a lot of the schematics part of it is what he, in the bones of it, is what he was trying to do in Arizona. So my point being is that this is a defense that works. The system works. I think it's he knows how to put it together. Now, do I agree that this is a home run hit? Yeah, Jim Leonard would have been awesome. I also don't think necessarily that what you see for the Broncos would be what that iteration would be with the Packers. But I don't necessarily think that this is like Mike McCarthy going to the Steelers.
Okay, so let's talk about this. Cody Alexander, matchquarters.com, amazing website. He's awesome. Follow him on X at _coach_A. On Philadelphia, I see all of this stuff, and it's like, oh, look at all the guys that benefited from Gannon in Philadelphia, and it's all these guys, right? And I kept wanting to tweet back, like, okay, now do Arizona, now do Arizona and see what it. Now I want to see what those numbers look like, right? And they're like, well, he's not calling the defense in Arizona. Okay, fair enough. You brought up the point that last year they were in the upper quadrant there for a good part of the season until injuries beset them. And then that obviously changed how everything played going forward.
100%. I think that they went out and actually bought players this year. They had a defensive line that they felt like was going to actually create some sort of pressure. I think you had Walter Nolan get hurt. There were some different injuries up front, and then the whole entire corner room ended up kind of being a disaster the entire year. They were just rotating bodies through in the back half. And I think with that, I think the other thing with what was going on offensively exacerbates a problem. When you can't move the ball on offense, you're on the field a lot of times. When you're not good on defense, you don't want to be on the field all the time. And so you can see that it's a vicious cycle. But I do think I was really curious this year of how this thing was going to play out. It looked like it was actually doing pretty well. Again, it wasn't going to be a top tier defense, but I feel like it was moving in the right direction. It just didn't get a chance to work. So my only point to this is, like, I agree with you. This is not a home run hit. I think Jim Leonard would have been that home run hit, but I don't think that you are scraping the bottom of the barrel. I think I think you're getting somebody, he knows how to do this. My biggest thing is I think the coverage systems parts of it is going to be fine. Where he was really struggling with in Philadelphia, even in the Super Bowl run, was they just did not have the ability to stop the run. And that was kind of the big black eye. And so that didn't really show up in Arizona either in terms of being able to, are we going to hang our hat on something? They really weren't good at anything. And so I do agree with you. When you look at it on paper, this doesn't look really sexy of a hire. But I do think that you're not necessarily going to fall off a cliff.
Okay, so let me bring this to you, Cody, because a lot of the other people because there are a lot of people spinning this for Gannon and what he did in Philadelphia. They don't want to talk about Arizona, which is fine. But the point is, man, look at what he did with like TJ Edwards. He can make Adrian Cooper that star player in his system like he did TJ Edwards. Cooper, I think, has a chance to be an all-pro if and when, somebody puts him in the right position and he becomes more disciplined and not missing assignments. Can he do that for an Adrian Cooper in this defense? Because if you look at the front four for the Packers, I mean, if they move on from Rashawn Gary, which I think they're going to for cap purposes, outside of Micah Parsons, there's not much there to get a rush of 4 to the quarterback at this point.
Well, I think that that's a big thing. And the one person that I would say go look at is what he was able to do with Mack Wilson Sr. in Arizona. Nobody knew who he was. Nobody knew who he was at all. He was just kind of a bit player for Belichick, just kind of a hybrid edge guy that you kind of throw in there to blitz. And they really supercharged him and were able to kind of move him around and use him as a moving piece. Really, here's the thing. The reason why, if you're sitting here listening, you're like, still, why is he so impressed with what happened at Arizona? I'm a nerd. I probably watched way too much Arizona Cardinals.
That's why you go to matchquarters.com because you'll educate everybody. Yes.
Right. But what they were doing is, imagine if you have a high school team and you just don't have a lot of talent, but the schedule laid out in front of you is going to be basically a bunch of heavy hitters every single week. You're in the NFC West, which obviously is one of the best, if not the best division in football.
Yeah.
So you're kind of the weak man in that whole division. You have to play all of those teams twice. How are you going to mitigate a lot of the risk that you're taking on with the fact that you have no players, you don't really have premium talent, you have one guy in Budda Baker, and so my point to this is, he took Budda Baker. And look, I get it. You can argue, well, he wasn't calling it. Nick Rawls was. Patrick Toney, who's now at Ole Miss, was there as well. I agree with you. But that's not saying that he didn't learn anything from this or he wasn't in control of that. All of this stuff is synergized through his vision for what they wanted. And I think if you go and you look at the way that he was able to get Mack Wilson Sr. involved in what they were doing, what he was able to do just in terms of in the back end, that secondary was not as bad as you think it was. I think that that's kind of the thing that you need to understand is when everybody was healthy, it was actually not really terrible. He was able to use a guy like Budda Baker. So when I look at this roster of the Packers, and you talk about a guy like Cooper, well, I look at it, what he did with Mack Wilson, moving him down into the edge. You don't know where he's going to be on a single play. He could be towards the field and then all of a sudden blitz off the edge. He could be in the box and blitz through the middle. And so I think that there's a system in place to where he's shown if we can put Micah Parsons on one side and we can use Cooper on the other side. You even got a guy like Quay Walker, who he's a Georgia linebacker, which means he can blitz the A-gap really good. So you have that element in it of it too. So there's a lot of diversity in the front to create pressure. And he's a simulated pressure guy, meaning that he's going to blitz, but it's only going to rush 4. So you're still getting your coverage distributions in the back end. So I do think you have a point there where I should be excited about that because now he's going to amplify his play instead of he's just kind of an off-ball linebacker.
You keep bringing up Budda. So between Xavier and Evan Williams, between McKinney and Evan Williams, does one benefit more than the other from how he likes to play on defense?
I think Williams will, because I think McKinney is one of the best post safeties in the league. You just leave him in the post, let him go be. He's one of those like a traditional center fielder. He can go from sideline to sideline, let him go ball hawk, let him do some things in zone coverage. I think Williams being able to move around, get near the box. I also think your safety room, a guy like Javon Bullard, being able to pop him back. He doesn't always have to play nickel. You can move him around, keep offenses guessing where people are going. I thought Hafley did a really good job, but it was really predictable what kind of Tampa 2 you were going to get. It was going to show single high. You guys were going to run inverted cover 2, meaning that the corners were going to come from outside in. You got a middle safety, which used to be Xavier, just sitting in the middle and kind of being that ball hawk. But I think Gannon's going to bring a different feel for it, being able to change the picture. And so I really think Williams will kind of excel in this. McKinney's already good. I'm not worried about him. You can put him anywhere. But in terms of what can he enhance, I think moving him around will help him out.
I would like to tell you, Cody Alexander of matchquarters.com, a text message that just came in on our Nicolay Law Talking text line from a guy named Ziggy. I know, but it is what it is. His name is Ziggy. He texts all the time. He says, I dare say this interview is getting me excited about the direction of our defense with Gannon. And Cody Alexander, I would like to tell you that you also have gotten me more excited than I was previous to this interview. And that's why I say you're the yang to my yang, whatever. And it makes good sense because again, the Edger and Cooper stuff is big for me because I didn't think they were utilizing him correctly. Now talking about Evan Williams being a playmaker and being utilized differently, which is good. You talking about maybe Hafley, you kind of knew what you were getting playing against Hafley. You won't know that as much against Gannon. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. This was a good interview. We brought you on mainly to get me excited more than anything, and it worked out well, Cody. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I'll say this too. I know when Micah Parsons got injured, a lot of people were thinking, okay, this defense is going to fall off the cliff. Hafley did a really good job of putting together. I think there are limitations at the corner spot. You addressed it. You talked about it. The defensive line probably needs to be cleaned up just a little bit in certain spots. So there are pieces there. This defense was probably middle of the road to begin with. I think Gannon has proven he can give you a top 10, at least in the secondary, he can give you a top 10 defense. He can fix that run defense. I think you're looking at somewhere where we're talking about an above average defense as we move in and start getting players, whether from the draft or free agency.
Tell everybody about matchquarters.com.
Yeah, matchcourse.com is basically a defensive think tank. Like I said, I'm the guy that's watching Arizona Cardinal film. And then I'm talking about what's going on, what are the trends in the NFL and major college football, and I'm basically breaking that down. In the offseason, I'll pretty much cover every team, even the Arizona Cardinals. So.
And when he does, we'll have him back on X at @the_coach_A. Follow him. I'm telling you, he was breaking all this Gannon stuff down after the Gannon hire, going back and forth with people. He's a great follow on X too. Cody, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
You betcha. Take care. There he is, Cody Alexander. Good stuff on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call. That is all. What is this crap? Sham Sharani to play in the 2026 NBA All-Star Celebrity Game? I just looked up at the TV and saw it.
What's worse, him playing in that or Keyshawn Nixon playing in the Pro Bowl?
Keyshawn Nixon playing in the Pro Bowl. It's what are you going to do, though? Nothing I can do about it. Coming up next, we have a guy that was an NFL offensive lineman, a good one, right? Nicknamed Stinky, who's caused a lot of grief amongst NFL fans, all NFL fans, not just Packer fans, all NFL fans, and raises a really interesting question about old school versus new school. We'll get into that coming up next for sure. Don't forget Potawatomi Sportsbook, people. That is where you are going to want to be. It's the thrill of witnessing a walk-off grand slam, a game-winning touchdown, a buzzer-beating three. You know the feeling. And there's only one place to experience that raw exhilaration. It's the Potawatomi Sportsbook. That's all the action in a supreme space with dozens of sports betting kiosks, cool drinks, luxury seating. They got 2 levels. Great food. Potawatomi Sportsbook Kitchen. Unmatched, I tell you. Homemade desserts, pastries, all-day brunch, man. Great food, fiery atmosphere, and a monster video wall. 2,000 square feet. 30 events at one time. Only at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Check out more information. Go to potawatomi.com. Must be 21 to enter the casino. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome back. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy. Steve Sparky Fiver with you. Charlie Houston producing today like he does every day. Don't forget, Hot Stove Weekly with the franchise Tim Allen and Tommy Wirtz tomorrow night, 5 to 7. They'll have the two newest members of the Milwaukee Brewers. Mr. Sprout and Mr. Jet Williams will be on tomorrow night between 5 and 7. So looking forward to hearing both of them talking with Tim and Tom. And, of course, Brewers conversation as well. So looking forward to that. So I saw this. I didn't hear it. I saw it, and I guess I heard it. From Mark Schlereth, who hosts the radio show on The Fan out there in Denver. We have Mike Evans all the time on. He works at the same radio station. And Schlereth apparently talks about, on the Dan Patrick Show, his hate about analytics when it comes to kicking a field goal or not. Do you have an old school or new school mentality when it comes to kicking a field goal or going for it? The new school is always go for it. Hardly ever kick field goals nowadays if you're close. And sometimes even when you're not close, you still go for it. And the old school mentality is, man, if you got the points, don't not get the points. Get the 3, move on, and continue playing the football game. You've seen it cost teams playoff games, regular season games. We've seen this happen time and time again all year, including in the postseason. Nicolay Law Talk and Text Line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. On the socials at WI Sports Radio, Instagram, Facebook, X, YouTube, streaming live there on X and YouTube as well. I'm old. I say it all the time. So obviously I'm rolling with Schlereth on this one. And I'll be honest, I don't roll with him on much anything when he sucks. But on this one, I'm with him. I cannot tell you how many times throughout the season I'm watching the game and it's like, man, just kick the damn points. Just kick the field goal, Matt. Kick the field goal. And then you get to the playoffs, same thing. Now, a little bit of a difference you could argue is when you're in a snowball game like Denver was and in New England, then okay, well, that's different, right? The ball, literally, you kick it directly left and it blows across and misses still. Then I understand not kicking field goals and going for it because it was treacherous conditions. It was impossible, apparently, to kick field goals, and it was costing them. So that I get. But, I mean, if we're in a dome, right, and you're at the 12 or the 13-yard line, and it's 4th and 3, 4th and 4, and you're like, well, we're going for it. Man, I don't get it. Or, I mean, if you're the Packers and it's 4th and 1 and your offensive line hasn't got movement the entire time when they've been trying to run the football or whatever the case may be. Now you can go, they're going to do it this time. I've got faith. Evidence says probably not going to happen this time either. Maybe you'll get lucky. Maybe you will get pushed for the first time. But if your offensive line can't run the football the whole game, and now on these 4th down plays, now we're going to try and run it. And then when it doesn't work, or in LaFleur's case, I'm going to run out the shotgun, inside zone, time after time after time on 4th down. And everybody in the country knows what's happening before you snap the ball, and you still try to run it. And then when they run into a brick wall, you don't get it. And it's like, well, yeah, we thought we were going to get it. We thought we'd execute and be able to pull it off. Oh, man. Like, to me, that's what was frustrating to me watching this all year with LaFleur. And it's not just LaFleur and Green Bay. This is across the entire league, Charlie.
It is. Almost every team this year seemed much more aggressive than we've seen even in recent years where you've seen that kind of uptick. It was different this season. And I think a lot of it, what I also noticed was, yeah, you saw the kickers with the bigger legs. You saw guys go out there and hit longer field goals.
Well, that's because the football's more than the legs.
Also kind of felt like guys were just missing field goals a lot this year too. And it was accepted more this year than it feels like it ever has been in a really long time. Feels like guys would miss 3 field goals in a game just last season and they'd be cut immediately after the game. You saw those same kind of guys miss 3 field goals in a game and get 3 more games afterwards this season. You didn't see a lot of the change. I don't know if that means the kicker position is just more coveted now and that it's harder for teams to find a kicker that can stick around a long time, kind of like the Packers and when they signed Brandon McManus last season, the sigh of relief that all the Packers fans had because it took forever. If every team is in that same boat, maybe that's why you do this. But also to Mark Schler's point, yeah, you don't have a lot of plays offensively in those situations. But I think in those situations, the offensive coaches are banking on the fact that the defense also doesn't have a lot of plays lined up for situations like that. And that you can try to catch them off guard. Just when you only have that one play, it's a lot easier for the defense just to play reactionary versus the offense having to go completely on that one scheme.
This is something that irritated Tommy Wirtz consistently. Malik Willis is in the game. We're running quarterback sneaks. Jordan Love's in the game. Never run a quarterback sneak on 4th and inches or 4th and 1. It might have happened, 2 times all year, if that. It just never happened. It's just crazy. Nicolay Law Talk and text line. Ron and Rome, you are next here on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. What's up, Ron?
Yeah, hi. This has been bothering me for the last 2-3 years. And I don't know, exactly how many games LaFleur has lost because he didn't take the points. So I would say it's about 8 games. And the guy who I liked attitude was Mike Holmgren. He would go for it on 4th down, maybe in the last 10 minutes of the 4th quarter if we were down 2 scores.
Right.
And when LaFleur went for it in the middle of the 2nd quarter from his own 34, I was screaming at the television. And we led Josh Jacobs for most of the year, led the league in yards after contact. He was usually hit before he hit the scrimmage line.
Yep.
So if you have a top 5 offensive line and a big running back, okay, that's one thing. But if you have a running back who's getting hit behind the yard of scrimmage, you can't do that. And we lost a lot of games this year by 1 or 2 points when all we needed was a field goal.
Exactly right. Well said. A+. Good job. Got talk and text line. Nicolay Law talk and text line from the 573. Sparky watched every game this playoffs. Have to get 3 in the first half. Second half is a judgment call. If y'all want to live and die by that, I'm good. I'm fine with that. If you want to say, even if you say 4th quarter, okay, fine. You want to be more aggressive? Okay. But in the first half, take the points, man, and see how the game plays going forward. That I'm okay with, especially if, going back to what Ron just said, if it's 4th and 2, 4th and 3, or 4th and 1, let's say, and you're at the, 25 or 24, 23, with the distance that they were kicking consistently all year in the league, right? Unless you have a horrible field goal kicker, just take the 3, man. Move on, go forward, especially if you're not pushing the defensive lineman back the entire time anyhow, and you're having to throw. I don't know. I'm just, again, maybe it's an age thing one way or the other. 262 says it's Moneyball. Math ain't going to win you championships, but it can get you to the postseason. It takes human observations to determine the risk. Well said. From the 509, easy. You take the 3. Look at half the Packer games they lost. Not taking the points killed us. Look at the Rams last Sunday. Had a chance to get 3 and would have been down by 1. Plenty of time on the clock to get the ball back, which they did. And instead of trying to go down the field to get a touchdown, all they needed was a field goal, and you're on your way to the Super Bowl. That is from Tyson in the 509. Tyson, thanks for chiming in. Don't be a stranger. Let's see where we at here on time. I'm not going to be able to get to you, Ram. I'm sorry. But don't worry, Ram. We're talking about Giannis and the Bucks coming up next, so I know you have lots of thoughts on that. So we will get to that straight ahead. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. We'll talk about Giannis and just growing tired of this every single day. And how much has it changed your opinion on Giannis as a Bucks fan with seemingly this going on for like the last 2 years? Is it wearing on you? And now you're starting to have second thoughts about Giannis and your thoughts on Giannis and all of that stuff. Plus, we'll also get to Charlie Sounds of the Day coming up at 3:40. Again, it's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening to the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. And don't forget, live streaming at WI Sports Radio on X and YouTube. All of our podcasts available for you, wisportsradio.com, and wherever you download your favorite podcasts.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Download the Wendy's app today.
Welcome in hour number 2 on a Tuesday. Hope y'all are well. It is been something being a Wisconsin sports fan lately, hasn't it been? And you have all this stuff going on with the Packers. Keyshawn Nixon named to the Pro Bowl. We'll get more into that at 4 o'clock. Green and Gold Update brought to you by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Got that going on. They hire a new defensive coordinator in Jonathan Gannon. Meanwhile, Rich Bisaccia still has a job, special teams coordinator. Luke Butkus, he still has a job as offensive line coach. We're going to get into that if we have some time. The schedule for the next 7, but I just got a feeling this Giannis thing is going to take off, so we'll see how it goes. You have the Brewers, who trade Freddie Peralta, and that's met by an uproar from some fans about, oh my gosh, what are we doing again? So you've got that going crazy. You've got the Badgers, Chris McIntosh, the Chancellor and I were on the same page. We're doing this, we're doing that. And what happens? I'm out of here. I'm going to Columbia. See ya. No, that's not a good look. That's not good for anybody involved. And if we have some time at the end, we'll talk about that too at 4:40. So there's a lot of stuff going on right now as a Wisconsin sports fan. But is there anything as tiring as what this whole thing has turned into with Giannis? Like, to a degree, it feels kind of almost like we're going through Brett Favre again. That's kind of what it feels like. The only difference is that Brett was just straight, right? He played the game to your face. I don't know if I'm going to retire. Let me think about it. Get back to me in a month. Okay. So then it gives you an answer. Next year. I need 2 months this year. Okay. 2 months. Gave you an answer. The next year. I need 3 months this year. Okay. March. Next year. I'm thinking 4. I don't know. Dude, either you're in or you're out. We got to know. Like, let's go. Figure this crap out. We're sick of dealing with this every year of not knowing if you want to play or you don't want to play. Like, figure it out. But he was front-facing the whole time. You knew what you were dealing with. He was going to play a game with you, but at least you knew you were playing with him. It wasn't dealing with his agent or anything like that. It was with the dude, right? Rodgers. Same thing. Front-facing, out there in public. May not like what he has to say, but he's going to say it. We go from that to this nonsense that we're dealing with now with Giannis. All these reports are out there. Again, Henry Abbott is the dude's name, True Hoop or whatever. Oh, well, Giannis almost fired his agent because he couldn't get him traded. I quote tweeted it, put it on Twitter the other day. I said, who believes this? It was yesterday, I think, right? Who believes this? Then later, another report comes out that says, Rich Paul is trying to get the Thanasis to convince Giannis to go with him because Rich Paul will get him to the team that he wants to go to. Now, again, any of it true? No idea. Sick of it? Abso-freaking-lutely, I'm sick of it. Here's my question. Are you growing tired of the Giannis news every day? And has it changed your opinion of Giannis? You're sick of hearing about it every day, and has it changed your opinion of the dude? Nikolay Law talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Next hour, it's Packers. We got some Brewer stuff, probably getting some Badger stuff. So that's next hour. So this is it right here. We're going to talk Giannis. This is going to be it. We ain't doing 2 hours on Giannis, nothing of the sort. At 3:40, we're out. We're doing Charlie Sounds of the day. So at most, we're going to do this for 2 segments. Could only do it potentially for 1 segment. Here's Kendrick Perkins from ESPN. Now, you know my feelings on Kendrick Perkins. Not a big fan, personally. This is Kendrick Perkins. good news. We have Stephen A. Smith fatigue. We have Kendrick Perkins fatigue. We have Shams Charania fatigue. And the good news is I don't follow any of these cats, I don't believe. Maybe Charania I do. But I don't follow Stephen A. Smith. I don't follow Kendrick Perkins. None of them. Do you know how I see all this stuff? Not by watching them on TV, because the people that I follow retweet these fools, and then I get to see what they say. And I'm not smart enough to be like, I don't care. I just keep going. I see it. I was like, okay, fine. What did he say this time? And I hit play. Then poor Charlie has to go find it, cut up the sound so we can play it back on the show. Kendrick Perkins talking about how he has Giannis fatigue. My follow-up would be like, hey, Kendrick, what else are you going to talk about for the next 5 years? Once Giannis is somewhere else, what then are you going to talk about? You know what they should be talking about? When is Luka going to ask to get the hell out of L.A.? Like, when is that going to happen? How long until people start yelling about the Knicks not delivering on what everybody thought the Knicks were going to be this year? When is that going to... Mike Brown was an awful hire, said Mike Brown was an awful hire when they made it, and it's proving to be true. Awful hire. So there's lots of things that can be talked about right now on ESPN and all these other networks. Instead, we focus on this. Do I blame them? No. Why? Because as you've read every article in the last 3 days, everybody says about the trade market, February 5th, 2 o'clock Central, is one thing. Everybody's waiting to see what happens with Giannis. All pieces are staying put because everybody wants in on the Giannis sweepstakes if there is a Giannis sweepstakes. That's literally all the NBA is obsessed with right now. And once Giannis is gone, trade, free agency, retirement, whatever, they will never talk about the Bucks again. We will never have to worry about having them talk about the Bucks, because we will be thrown off to Siberia, as they used to say back in the 80s, and nobody will care about this franchise ever again going forward until they get another superstar.
And then they'll move on to Jokic and do it in Denver to him until they get tired of that.
Or Wendy in San Antonio.
Because for some reason, these guys just hate actually watching basketball. It feels like sometimes they don't actually want to talk about what's happening on the court ever. They're more worried about where's Giannis going to be traded. Is LeBron and Jeannie Buss, their relationship ending at this point? Yeah, those are fun things to talk about for a little bit. But at some point, why don't you talk about the actual game that's happening? Some of the great teams that have been playing throughout this season in Oklahoma City.
Who hasn't got enough love?
Who's that?
Pistons.
Exactly. Talk about the Pistons. Cade Cunningham's been phenomenal this season.
They never talk about
Jalen Duren's had a great breakout season for that team.
Yep.
Like, talk about them. Talk about anything else. The Celtics have defied all odds with their best player out of for the season. Nobody wants to talk about how crazy their defense is in some of these games. Like, that's absurd. Talk about the Houston Rockets with 36-year-old Kevin Durant playing like he's back to 29-year-old KD. Like, what are we doing? There's so much better to talk about than this.
I agree with you. 1,000% with you. Ram, north side of Milwaukee. You're next on the Nicolay Law Talk and text line. Are you growing tired of the Giannis news every day? And has it changed your opinion of Giannis, Ram?
I get tired of it. I'm going to agree with both of y'all said last segment. I think we done got into this era of pronoun sportscasters, because since the NBC has got the rights to the NBA, you don't have an NBA TV segment. Like, if you don't see nothing about basketball, you watch NBA TV and you got the OGs there and the guys who actually play the game, and they can give you the updates what's going on. Now, I don't know where the hell to go.
Oh, yeah, Inside the NBA has been on, what Barkley was complaining about the other day. They've been on like 3 times in like 2 months or something like that.
Right.
They've barely been on TV.
Not that they talked about basketball that much either, though.
And then the other thing, Sparky, what you and I agree on, why doesn't GM John Horst get any smoke?
I said this last week.
I'm going to tell you this. He did not sign Giannis.
Ram, last week, I said, where is John Horst in all of this? He has not talked to the media. I have not seen interviews with John Horst. He is not front and center at all amongst all this drama, and he should be out there, and he's not out there.
Okay, let's let the fan base know. He got Executive of the Year on John Hammond's work.
Yes.
Because John Hammonds went over to Greece and saw Giannis playing, that 14-year-old playing soccer and playing against a grown man. John Horst had nothing to do with it.
Well, John Horst got Bledsoe. Not Bledsoe. Got Holiday, I should say. He got Holiday and he got Lillard. He deserves credit for both. And the Lillard thing didn't work out.
What I'm saying is, you remember, we used to talk about this, before Giannis came into the forefront, the Bucks wasn't even getting no games on NBA TV.
No, because they were horrible.
They weren't getting nobody never knew nothing about the Bucks. And then you remember when he first started coming on TV, they couldn't even pronounce his name.
Correct.
So let's keep this real about what's going on now. The problem I had with what's going on forward, John Horst has blew up the Bucks to what we got right now. He is letting go. He has let go players that we could have probably at least got 2 more championships. 2 more championships. Easy. If you just look, Grayson Allen and Dante DiVincenzo is better than the backcourt we got right now. That's a fact. And if you had Drew in there, we back in the Final Four for the title. I don't know what's going on now.
Well, you ain't going.
And we can't blame Doc. You don't have talent and IQ player. You can't blame the coach. He's not out there picking the players. It's John Horst. So I'd like to see some smoke on John Horst or have him come to the mic.
All right. Very good. Thanks for the call. No, John Horst has been missing in action. I have no idea. And listen, I've sat here and I've defended Horst over and over again. And I don't think he deserves a ton of blame for this whole thing. He's bent over backwards 5 million times for what Giannis wanted to make Giannis happy. And in payback from Giannis to him has been, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm coming back. I don't know. We're going to see. It's like, dude, if you don't trust him by this point, then just be like, I'm out. Like, I don't trust my general manager. I say I trust my general manager, but my actions don't say I trust my general manager. This apparently has been going back to when they won the championship. That's how long this has been going on every offseason. This isn't just started. This is going on every offseason. He puts them through this. It's absolutely freaking ridiculous that they're going through this. And I get it, right? Giannis's ego is blown through the roof. He ain't the same dude he was when he got here, right? All of that. I'm not like every other NBA player. Hey, buddy, I hate to say it. You are like every other NBA superstar that we've seen come along now. There is no more separating. Oh, he's not like everybody else. No, it's just not true. Your ego now is taken front and center. And that's cool. I've got no problem with that. My thing in all of this is, as a fan, I don't want him being traded. As a fan, I want to watch him in a Bucks uniform as long as humanly possible. Why? Because I'm selfish. Because I know when this is over, we are screwed potentially for the next 20 years or longer. Who knows? No idea. Depending on what they get back in the trade. They potentially could be screwed for a long, long time. And odds are we will never see a superstar like Giannis ever again in a Bucks uniform. Potentially will not happen. Have we had all-stars? Yeah. Michael Redd, good player. Not Giannis. Ray Allen, good player. Not Giannis. Big Dog, Bogut, good players to degrees. Not Giannis. The odds of us ever seeing another Giannis, slim to none. And on top of it, you got Jimmy Haslam running the ship. So how much better do you feel about our future without Giannis, knowing that Haslam is running this thing? Man, you can't. So everybody's like, well, I'm sick and tired of Giannis. I feel you. But do realize you're going to be wishing you had this dude when you're playing at 15-win level again. Like, that's going to be a thing. And you won't have to worry about Doc Rivers being the coach, because there'll be somebody that you've never heard of playing a minimum coach's salary to come in here and coach a bunch of nobodies and try and figure this thing out and hope and pray to God that you get lucky in a lottery. Eric in Racine in the 262 says, yes, I'm ready for him to be traded now. 920, Giannis has to go. I'm tired of it. At this point, trade him for a popcorn machine for concessions. Do not care. Pure drama from the 920. I can't allow myself to get there, man. I cannot. I feel like I'm not going to argue with you. There's a part of me that's like kind of with you. But in my heart of hearts, I know that it's going to be horrible when he leaves. It's going to be horrible. So even though there's all this drama and I'm sick of it like you, I still want to just tell him, I don't care. I'm not trading you. You can hire whatever agent you want. You're playing. And if you don't want to take shots and you want to pout on the court like you've been doing, by all means, don't take shots and you pout on the court. Do whatever you got to do, buddy. But you're staying here and I'm selling tickets and we're selling jerseys until this is over. And if next year you want to go out there and average 10 points a game and 5 rebounds and 3 assists and essentially ruin the entire legacy you've built in Milwaukee, by all means, you go do it, dude. Go do you, Giannis. Because this nonsense we've been watching of 8, 10 shots, whatever the hell he's been throwing up on a night-to-night basis, no, that's I'm going to pout now, but because we don't have a good basketball team.
But he said he needs to take more shots. Yes, he said Giannis needs more shots is what he said.
Yes,
right?
And then went the complete opposite way. Right, exactly. Anthony in Muskego, you're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. What's up, Anthony?
Well, I mean, the one thing you got to give John Horst credit for was the move for Drew Holiday that absolutely put us in a title contention. And the other two things that he did do was sign Giannis to 2 Supermax extensions. That he gets credit for. Beyond that, he's pretty much been a failure. Now, some of it's not on him. He hasn't had a lot of draft picks. He mortgaged a lot of them in these trades for Drew and for Dame. And the draft picks he has had besides Dante DiVincenzo weren't NBA players. He's done what he can around the margins. He's made some swing and misses, like 5 second-round picks for Jay Crowder. That was a disaster. And they really haven't had money to spend in free agency. And now with the new CBA rules, they're pretty strapped with what they had. The other thing is, though, what Giannis has to realize is that even the year they won the championship, he missed a couple games in the playoffs, and we won those games, granted.
Every year he misses games in the playoffs, man.
Correct. Well, that's what I was getting to, Steve, is that, since that championship, the Bucks have been plagued by injury. Now that you cannot really blame John Horst. We knew we had an aging team with Brooke and with Chris and Drew, but Giannis has been getting hurt every single year.
Yep.
And Chris was snake bitten with injuries. We never, since the championship year, those guys were never together. Unfortunately, he takes the big swing with Dame. And that was a massive flame out because, Dame's first year, Giannis injured. And then second year, Dame blows his Achilles. So we never actually got to see those guys for really an extended period. They never got to make a playoff run together. And now we really mortgage the future. I think the worst move that Horst made was the panic move that he made last offseason to waive and stretch Dame to get Miles Turner. And great, Miles Turner, he was a starter on a team that went to the finals. But the reality is that there were situations even for the Pacers in their run to the finals last year that Miles Turner was on the bench because he was unplayable.
Correct.
He's a very good role player. But for us to mortgage the future for that, we would have been better off trying to convince Giannis, we got to take our medicine. Dame got hurt. He's going to rehab. We're going to run it back this year, develop these young guys. We'll see if we can make a move to make a push this year. We'll get Dame back. And we'll see what happens there. But you would have had more flexibility to get rid of Dame's contract after he came back. You could have traded him for actual players that could help you on the floor.
Anthony, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Did I or did I not say on this radio show to you, Charlie, several times, to hell with it, tell Lillard, you sit over there, rehab. Giannis, we're not going to be good, but we're going to get a really good pick at the end of this year. We're going to have that player added into what you have. We're going to let these guys go in free agency as their contracts expire. We're going to clear cap space for 2 years, and then we'll be able to surround you with NBA All-Stars again and make another window for another 5-year window here. Just stay with me. And I knew, and I said it, he'll never, ever, ever agree to it because he's got to compete for a championship every year. Okay, so then Horst goes and makes that deal, which, grant you, I was excited, even though I'm not a big Miles Turner guy. I was excited. I was like, holy crap, he's going to try make this work again. Here we go. And when Giannis doesn't play, Miles Turner is god-awful and missing in action. Tomorrow, I want to talk about the deadline, what they should do, and so forth. I'm telling you right now, he would be the first player I'm trying to get the hell out of here. The very first player.
I'm trying to get Kuzma.
I saw a report today, Kuzma for Malik Monk potentially with Sacramento. Done and done.
Go take him, dog.
Done and done.
I was so hyped for Kyle. I thought Kyle Kuzma would figure it out this offseason a little bit, be able to kind of learn from Giannis. No shot, dude. It's been just atrocious.
Trell, north side of Milwaukee. You're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. What's up, Trell?
Hey, Sparky. How you doing, man? Hey, you know what, Sparky? I really am fatigued on this topic, but this topic draws up so much passion out of me. And I know that you are a person that holds grudges at sometimes, Sparky.
Yep.
But you got to let it go, my friend.
Let what go?
You got to let it go. You cannot be looking at this as, I'm going to keep this guy because we're never going to be that good anymore. Or I'm going to keep this guy because he wants to leave. Sparky, I would agree with you. If Giannis wanted to still be here and we just didn't have a good team and we needed to find a way to build around him, I would be 1,000% behind us. You got to keep him.
But Trell, didn't he just say like 2 weeks ago he's never going to ask for a trade? Didn't he say that?
It's not what he says out his mouth.
Oh.
It's his body language and it's his energy.
Yeah, pouty.
Giannis has not wanted to be on this team since the beginning of the season. Giannis, that report that he wanted to be traded was absolutely true. You can tell by the way he talked to the media when he first got here to the time he's been here, how he's continuously going out with these cap injuries, and I don't know how real they are or whatever you want to say, whatever. He does not want to be here. And the report that what nailed it for me after I seen his energy was his family has moved. It's not here anymore.
I don't know if that's true or not, because I swore I heard him say something about going home to his girl the other day, but maybe not.
Yeah. I just think, Sparky, if we wait around, the return is not going to be that good, Sparky. Just trade him. Get one of these top picks this year. Trade Miles Turner. Get you a pick and a player, young player. Trade Bobby Portis to a winning team. Get you something for him.
Empty the roster.
And empty the roster. Yeah. Get you a good pick in this draft. That's going to be a legendary draft. Hope you hit on the player that you choose to pick, and build around going forward. I mean, there's nothing else that he doesn't want to be here. So it doesn't matter what the Bucks want to try to show him they can do. I don't think he's buying it anymore. He just wants to be somewhere else. And it doesn't help us that we got Haslam going to be running the team right now, because I can't blame him on that end. I really can't.
Well, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes with Haslam and everybody else. I'm just saying Haslam does not have a good track record for winning necessarily. Thanks for the call, Trot. And then the pilot gas station thing and all the other crap that he had going on. I don't think it's a grudge necessarily. Well, maybe it is. I don't know. Like, you're under contract, man. You're under contract through next year. Like, I'm not letting you go. Like, you're the reason we sell tickets. You're the reason everybody comes out. You're the guy that everybody looks up to. And now you're playing games with us. You won't say front facing that you don't want to be here if he doesn't. And then you've got all this nonsense going on with your agents and talking to whoever they're talking to. I'm telling you, one day somebody's going to write a book on this. I cannot wait to see what all is really going on behind the scenes from the end of last year with the Lillard injury to now, up until whatever happens. I'm telling you, the stories potentially are going to make people cringe and potentially could change everybody's views on what all is really going on. Because I'm not sitting here telling you, oh, I know what's going on. I don't. But there is a sickening feel that goes along with all of what could potentially be going on behind the scenes and of how Giannis may be truly handling this. Like, the guys on his team all are vouching for Giannis. I mean, like, dude, same guy. Like, going out there, playing hard, whatever. You can say that. But again, you don't got to be that smart to watch the last couple of games with him and go, I don't know, man. Like, it doesn't look like it to me like he's all in necessarily the last couple of games.
Well, and if we're being completely honest, the guys haven't really spoken up since his last injury. You haven't heard a lot of these players come out and say, oh, we're with Giannis. Oh, we're excited the direction the team is going right now since Giannis was out for those 9 games a couple months ago.
Yep.
So, no, I don't know if I really believe the rest of the team is as bought in as they were.
On the other side of this quick timeout, Doc Rivers has talked about Giannis here. Some really good stuff from Doc. I know. Fire Doc! It ain't going to matter. But regardless, some couple of interesting quotes from Doc on Giannis that I want to play for you. Talks about injury history, talks about playing for Greece, all of that stuff. That's coming up next. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live in Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Don't forget, when the Bucks win, you win at Wendy's. After every Bucks win, stop by any participating Wisconsin Wendy's for a free small vanilla or chocolate frosty classic. No purchase necessary. This offer is only good for 24 hours after a win, so act fast. Get that free small frosty classic at Wendy's. Welcome in. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy. Sparky here. Charlie using other side of the glass. Talking about Giannis. Are you growing tired of the Giannis news every day? Has it changed your opinion of Giannis? That is the question. Doc Rivers talked about Giannis and talked about his recent injury history that was brought up there in the last segment. This is the thing. When we start talking about Giannis and how to deal with him being hurt all the time and bad breaks, all of this, then comes the issue of, okay, man, listen, if you can't stay healthy, then maybe we shouldn't be playing international. Maybe we shouldn't be playing for Greece. Maybe we shouldn't be doing all of that if there truly is an issue with you staying healthy. And as I've stated before, you are never, ever, ever, ever going to win that argument of Giannis, you can't play for Greece. Because at that point, Giannis will give you the bird and be like, cool, I'm out. Let me go somewhere where they are cool with me playing in Greece. You can't even attempt to approach that topic with Giannis in Greece. There's anybody in this league as loyal to their country as Giannis is to his. So that, to me, that's a non-starter. Here's Doc. He has to play. He called him the hero of Greece. I don't think that's foolish. I don't think that's wrong with Doc Rivers. So if Giannis goes and plays in New York, they're going to have the same thing. If Giannis goes and plays with the Lakers, same thing. The Hawks, the Hornets, wherever you want to rumor him to trade him to be, it's going to be the same thing. This is the other problem. That when a team comes calling for Giannis, if I'm that team, I'm going to bring up, Duke can't stay healthy in the postseason. Like, I get he's one of the top players of all time, but he's got to be one of the most hurt players in postseason history as far as games played to games missed when it comes to how often he's hurt. He's constantly hurt in the postseason. And you can say it's wear and tear on his body, it's style of play, and you'd be right on all of that. And I'm not mad about it necessarily at the end of the day. But the reason this team hasn't won more than one championship, if we're being real, is because your best player is never healthy in the playoffs. Never healthy. It's not John Horst. It's not anybody else. It's on that dude who can stay healthy in the playoffs. Now, if you were talking about the last 5 years in the postseason, Giannis had been healthy every one of them, and everything didn't work. Okay, cool. Be mad. Be salty. I want to go somewhere else. You can field a winning team for me in the postseason. But that's not been the case. If he's looking in the mirror, the finger should point towards himself as far as why they don't have more than one championship with him and with this team.
Well, and I think that really constricts who is going to be truly interested in making or at least having conversations with the Bucks if they do decide to get into that trade conversation with him there. I think it's got to be a team that hasn't won a championship in recent years, that has championship aspirations immediately when trying to get a Giannis, because they know he won't stay healthy when it comes to the playoffs. So he may hurt them in that aspect. It has to be a team that's borderline championship caliber that hasn't won one yet are a bad team. And then that really limits the type of assets you're going to get back because they don't have talent. That's why they're a bad team or haven't won a championship yet.
Correct. So you're completely stuck in what you're going to get back for Giannis at this point already at the end of the day. Doc Rivers on how the Bucks are going to manage Giannis's, let's see here. No, I did that one. I clicked on the wrong one. Hold on. Doc Rivers on previous minute restrictions for Giannis. If you're an opposing GM, I take that audio clip and I play for John Horst. Look, man, your own coach says they can't really play him more than 30 minutes at this point because he continues to get hurt. So I'm not giving you all that you want. He's not healthy in the postseason, and he can't keep him healthy in the regular season either. That's your coach in Milwaukee saying that about this dude. You want me to send 4 number 1 picks to and multiple players.
Well, and if I'm John Horst, I go down to Doc Rivers and I say, "Do you want to be here, dog? Like, why are you going out here just saying stuff like this? Yeah, I guess we'll just try whatever. You know, we'll go back to that. Maybe we won't. I don't know. We're just gonna do whatever we want." He just sounds so apathetic this entire time since all this Giannis stuff has come out, and he pretends like he doesn't have a whole team that's still playing basketball on the court. He just keeps saying, "Yeah, we'll wait for Giannis. We'll wait for Giannis. We'll wait for Giannis. He'll figure it out. He'll figure it out." Stop,
Charlie, I don't give a damn who the coach is. You're not winning with the players they have on this team without Giannis.
No, but you can at least pretend like this isn't all that's happening. You can pretend like there is still games happening on the court.
But again, so we'll talk more about what to do at the trade deadline and all of this other stuff. We're going to get into more of that tomorrow. Coming up next, Charlie, sounds of the day. Can you feel it? It's the thrill of witnessing a walk-off grand slam, a game-winning touchdown, a buzzer-beating 3. And Sparky, you know the feeling. And there's only one place to experience that raw exhilaration, the Potawatomi Sportsbook, baby. Catch all the action in Supreme Space with dozens of sports betting kiosks, cool drinks, luxury seating, great food, fiery atmosphere, and a monster video wall. Only at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. More information at Potawatomi.com. Must be 21 to enter casino. I'm telling you, that Sportsbook is so good, man. 48 beers on tap, dozen different specialty cocktails, 2,000-foot square screen, square foot screen, 30 sporting events at one time, 2 levels in the sports book. The second level, if you're listening and you want to have like a party up there or business meeting up there, whatever, they rent it out. You can find more information on that as well by going to Potawatomi.com. You can reserve your seat ahead of time for the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Nominal fee, but that goes towards your food and beverage costs, which I spend that money anyhow. So again, Potawatomi.com for more information. Charlie, sounds of the day up next on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome back. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer with you. Nicolay Law Talk and Text Line. Brian and Valders, you're next. What's going on, Brian?
Hey, Sparky. I don't know where to begin with this, but from the standpoint, am I frustrated with the whole Giannis news? Yeah, I am. I'm not going to lie to you that way. I don't listen to many of the prognosticators that are talking like Perkins and all these guys. I mean, half of that is all media driven and all that. But, I have to tell you, I was one of these guys that always felt like Giannis, let's keep him. And, I don't want to see him gone. But the more I think about this whole thing, and John Horst, I get it. He isn't a GM that's going to be at the forefront. But I don't know what we expected John Horst to do. He had Drew Holiday, and he traded Drew Holiday because he could get Dame Lillard. He tore his ACL. And Giannis has been hurt the last 3 years. So, and he's traded chips away from our roster because he's continually trying to build it around Giannis, and it hasn't worked. And we keep on saying horse this, horse that, but could he come out and say, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, but he's not a GM that's going to do that. And could he have been more outspoken? Yeah, he probably could have. But I think the one question we have to ask ourselves is are we going to win with Giannis anymore? And I'll be honest with you, he's 31 going on 32, and the way the NBA officials call the game, he's battered and bruised and beaten up. And to me, I think you're best off not trade him now because he's hurt. You're best off is trade some pieces you have in your roster now for the future, and then in the off season you trade him because that's when he's healthy, because that's about all you're going to get for him, because trading him now makes no sense.
Could you imagine if they trade him now, he comes back and then blows his Achilles out in the playoffs and misses the whole next season for the team that traded for him, and then opts out with his player option, never even plays for that team, really? Can you imagine how angry that fan base will be?
Absolutely. But trading him now, your stock, you're not going to get the 2-1s and the young players you want.
Nope.
Just wait and let them get healed up and talk to them in the offseason and say, listen, this is not going to be able to build a team around you because we just don't have the pieces to do it. And even if you try to trade for pieces, you really think Giannis at 32 years old and maybe one young stud you get are going to be able to get you to the finals?
No.
It ain't happening, Sparky.
No, but they're not going to the finals for a long, long, long time after Giannis, regardless of what you get back. Thanks for the call, Brian. I appreciate it. Time to do this.
1, 2, 3. What sound clips will Chicago Charlie pick today for Sparky? Will Sparky become enraged? Will laughter ensue? It's time for Charlie's Sound of the Day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
It's brought to you by Prize Picks. The big game is almost here. There's no better way to cash in during America's biggest sporting event than Prize Picks, where it always feels good to be right. And since the big game is right around the corner, that also means it's your last chance to get into the football action before next season. So close the season out right with Prize Picks by getting $50 instantly in lineups. When you play your first $5, all you got to do is use the code SPARKY, SPARKY. And all we're talking about here is daily fantasy, right? More or less on daily stat projections, whether it's football with the big game coming up, whether it's basketball games going on, pro, college, you're going to have baseball coming, hockey is still going on. They do MMA stuff, all kinds of different stuff on Prize Picks. It is so much fun. You don't got to spend a ton of money. You can do like $5 lineups and still have a blast at the end of the day. And also going on, Prize Picks now has early payouts. If your player gets off to a hot start, you now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even cashes. And with the new social feeds feature, you can share Prize Picks with your friends and copy lineups from winners with a single copy lineups that you like, or use them as inspiration for your own picks. Download Prize Picks app today and use code SPARKY to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code SPARKY to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for details. Like I always say, if you play $5 lineups with promo code Sparky on here, you essentially will play 11 lineups at $5 a piece and it's going to cost you $5. Now, why wouldn't you do that? Even if you've never done it, download the Prize Picks app, use code Sparky. All right, what do you got there, Charlie?
All right, so first up here, we're going to head over to the Mind the Game podcast, where LeBron James was talking with one of your favorites, Tyrese Halliburton, on there about why playing a full season now is harder than it was in the 80s and 90s.
Playing 82 games in the 80s and 90s is not the same as playing 82 games in the 2020s.
Of course.
It's just not. The way we play, the level of pace, the level of the speed that we're playing
Lack
at.
of physicality.
It's a different game now. It's a totally different game. And, it's a lot of soft tissue injuries that's happened now because of it. I hope we can get a handle on that as well, because that's big in our game. I think when I first came into to the league, Reese, like some of the biggest concerns of injuries was like, a high ankle sprain. You was afraid to step on somebody's ankle because there was 4 or 5 guys sitting in the paint. So, guys with athleticism, myself, Tracy McGrady, Vince Carter, to name a couple guys, sometimes you're afraid to take off into the lane because it was 4 or 5 guys sitting in the paint. If you land on somebody's ankle, you get a high ankle sprain, you out 4 to 6 weeks. Now that's not really much you don't really see that as much now because the game is so spread open. It's so much pace.
Yeah.
But now you see the new high ankle sprain is the calf.
I'm done. Just shut up. With all due respect, let me see if I got this right. Because we run more, now we have more issues with calf injuries. Not because it's more physical and you're taking more of a beating on a night-to-night basis, but now we run too much. Okay. With all due respect, I don't feel sorry, and it's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard.
And watching most NBA offenses, especially the Bucks, watching them this season, are we doing that much running? It's like one guy has the ball and everybody else stands around.
Jack up a 3, go back to the other end. Jack up a 3, go back to the other end.
And everybody just stands in their spot until they say rotate, and then you rotate to the next spot.
I don't like I don't like watching the game nearly as much as I used to. I watch it, but it's not nearly as good to me as it used to be. And again, the poor calves for all these NBA players like Giannis. All right, what's next?
Next up, we're going to head over to MLB Network, where Brian Kenny and Cliff Floyd were doing their yearly shredder list on there, where Bryce Terang, Brewers' second baseman, ended up at number 10 on that list.
Let's jump into the top 10. And at number 10, according to the shredder, it is Bryce Terang of the Milwaukee Brewers. Terang makes his top 10 debut after another solid all-around year for the Brewers. He's been a standout defender with some gaudy defensive metrics at times. Stepped up offensively as well, though. Nice slash line of 288, batting average 359 on base, 435 slugging, 18 homers, 24 steals, only going into his age 26 season. Terang played 156 games last year, finishing with a WAR over 5. That's a career high. In fact, over the last 2 years, only Ketel Marte has a higher WAR among those now at the position.
Okay, so I had Brian Kenny on this show last year. Remember we had him on and we talked about the shredder, and he kind of threw his hands up and said, "Hey, don't yell at me. That this is a program. This ain't me personally." So it's numbers. It's all of that stuff that goes into this shredder that comes up with whatever this is. Do I agree that he's 10? No. Do I think he's top 3? Yes. But I definitely don't think he's 10. If you put in defense, offense, even clutch hitting and everything else that he brings, intangibles, all of that together, Bryce Terang is definitely top 3. We got about 50 seconds. What, you got anything else?
I'll be able to get the last.
All right, that's fine. But no, Bryce Terang should definitely.
Well, you look at the guys ahead of him: Brandon Lau, Xavier Edwards from Miami, Gleyber Torres, Jose Altuve, Marcus Semien, Brandon Dominant, Nico Horner, Jazz Chisholm, and Ketel Marte. How can you say he's right behind Ketel Marte and all these different stats and then not have him right behind Ketel Marte?
Well, again, that's the Shredder. That ain't Brian Kenny. He'll tell you that ain't me, man. Don't come yelling at me about that. So there you go. Charlie Sounds of the Day brought to you by Prize Picks. Coming up next, green and gold update. Gotta talk about Keyshawn Nixon. Oh my goodness, he's a Pro Bowler, y'all. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Download the Wendy's app today.
Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. See Sparky Pfeiffer with you. Charlie using over there, other side of the glass. Things Sparky missed, brought to you by the Milwaukee Admirals. We'll get to that coming up at about 4:40. If you missed Cody Alexander from MatchQuarters.com earlier, breaking down Jonathan Gannon and the defensive schemes that he has run in Philly and Arizona and how that aligns with Green Bay and who will benefit from some of the schematics that he's used and all of the unbelievable other information that he brought, which was a ton of information. He was on earlier in the show. We got done. I said, Charles, it's really good. Because, I've been listening. We've had guys on from Philadelphia. We've had guys on from Arizona. And this dude, as he said himself, is a football nerd. And his website, MatchQuarters.com, is specifically all about defense. So he watches like every play of every team and then does breakdowns on every team after the year and all of that. So I wanted to get him on for that reason. And if we're being honest, by the end of the interview, I was feeling better about the Gannon hire than I was before the interview, Charlie.
I would say so, too. I mean, I didn't feel all that bad or as bad as some other people have been talking. I feel like this is what a semi I wanted, was a veteran guy who's been around the block, who's going to be able to come in and hopefully challenge Matt LaFleur, maybe a little bit more than a Jeff Hafley, who's coming in to kind of make a name for himself, and he's focusing on himself more. This is a Jonathan Gannon hire that is going to come in and is just trying to help any team to give himself a better credit than what he had before. I already felt okay about it, but he did make me feel much better than I already did.
No doubt. I felt much better. And you'll hear me say that when we replay the interview coming up here in a little bit. But first, we got to do what we always do at 4 o'clock.
It's time for your green and gold update on Wisconsin Sports Daily, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer.
All right, then. Earlier today, I missed McCarthy to have a press conference today. I'm going to have to go back and listen to that. Did he cry? Eyes look like he's tearing up.
I think he did. I think he was talking about how it was his dream job, always all that.
You idiots in Pittsburgh, if you're seeing us on stream, y'all need to chill the hell out on this one. Like, I seriously am agitated with the nonsense. And there's talk show hosts going after him too. First of all, he hasn't even coached a game for y'all. No, number one, you want to be mad at him after year one? Dude, 4 weeks? Cool. Do what you got to do. But man's dream job. Like, chill out. It's not like he hasn't won anywhere. He went and won a Super Bowl in Green Bay. They won in Dallas. No, they didn't win a Super Bowl, but neither has anybody else since Jimmy Johnson in Dallas. So he won in Dallas as well. And now he's coming there, replacing a guy that made the playoffs every year, who you all didn't want because y'all didn't win enough Super Bowls with Mike Tomlin. So now here comes this guy who wants to be there. He's from there. He grew up there. All of that, and you all just crap on him. I mean, seriously, I just irritates the hell out of me. It just, I'm sorry. I should have, if he wouldn't have come up on my TV screen, I would not have gone off this McCarthy tangent, but it just irritates me. It just does.
I think just Pittsburgh fans, the problem that they have isn't, I guess, with directly Mike McCarthy, but just the fact that it feels like the Steelers just brought in another coach to prolong that mediocre streak that they've had.
I have a question.
Yeah, what's that?
If I would have went to a Bears fan 10 years ago and say, describe to me what mediocre is in your world, what do you think they would say?
Like 500.
Right.
Yeah.
Not going to the playoffs for 17 straight years or not having a losing season in 17 straight years. Folks, that ain't mediocre. Going to the playoffs every year is not mediocre. Matt LaFleur, not mediocre. Mike McCarthy, not mediocre. These are good football coaches with good football teams. Can fans get frustrated because they aren't winning enough Super Bowls? Yes, for sure. So, yes, they could have went and hired Joe Brady, let's say, and said, instead of Buffalo gets Joe Brady, Pittsburgh gets Joe Brady, right? And Joe Brady comes in, never been a head coach, have no idea what it's going to be like being a head coach, roll the dice. And if that bad boy goes sideways and goes backwards, how long does it take you to build out?
They'd rather have that.
Okay.
They'd rather have that.
I think you're right. They would rather lose at this point than go back to the playoffs. which is stupidity in its
crazy,
truest form.
but that's what they'd rather
At
have.
this point, that's what they're asking for. So now McCarthy's going to go there, and if he develops another quarterback and they go back on a run with another quarterback, people are going to start talking about how great Mike McCarthy is at developing quarterbacks if he develops another guy like Rodgers. Just saying. It's going to be talked about. Sorry, got sidetracked. See, this is what happens when I'm on the show. Tim Allen probably didn't get sidetracked at all yesterday when he was filling in. Right?
No, he got sidetracked a couple times.
Did he?
Yeah, a couple times.
Yeah.
You guys are all old guys. You all go on little tangents and stuff. It's a thing that happens.
Age discrimination. That when he gets fired, that's what it's going to be for. So earlier today, working all this other stuff, and a buddy of mine texted me. I was like, what is this? I click on it. Keyshawn Nixon to the Pro Bowl. You got to be kidding me, man. So this is what I'd like to know from you all listening. Him being named to the Pro Bowl as a corner now. This isn't kick returner Keyshawn Nixon. Kick returner Keyshawn Nixon going to a Pro Bowl made sense. I supported. Okay, good job, Keyshawn. This here, no sense. What does this say to you that Keyshawn Nixon is now a Pro Bowler? Could say, we didn't value him enough. He was better than we gave him credit for. Could be anything. What is it for you? Nicolay Law Talking text line 414-677-1250. 414-677-1250 on the socials at WI Sports Radio. If you miss anything, go back, listen to it at wisportsradio.com. All the interviews from all the shows on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network are there. All the podcasts are there. And it's broken up by team as well. Not only just show, but by team. So best Brewers coverage, best Packers, best Bucks. So if you want, oh man, I'm a diehard Bucks fan. I only want Bucks stuff. Boom, go there. You find all Bucks stuff. Man, I love the Packers. Boom. And it doesn't matter what month it is. There's interviews or whatever. It goes into that segment on top of the actual show segment. So again, wisportsradio.com, and you can stream us through from there. So I'll tell you what it was for me. Yesterday, Shedeur Sanders goes into the Pro Bowl. And my initial reaction was, that's stupid. That's my initial reaction. If my kids were listening, that's a bad word in our house. You can't say stupid. But that was my initial reaction, right? Like, that doesn't make any sense. He didn't start most of the year, and when he did start, he was okay. One of the best quarterbacks in the league? Absolutely not. So, like, there's got to be other guys that are better than him. So that didn't make much sense. So now you bring in Keyshawn Nixon. Keyshawn Nixon, when this defense was good, he wasn't the best quarterback on this team. When Micah Parsons was out there and you went back and looked at Pro Football Focus, do you know who the number one graded quarterback was? Carrington Valentine, by a significant margin.
And he also was not very good.
Right? Then Micah Parsons goes out and they both get exposed at that point. So even if you were saying, well, pre-Micah, if it was pre-Micah, Valentine deserves to be in the damn Pro Bowl before Keyshawn Nixon does. If we're talking about only cornerback, which we have turned punts or kicks this year, that I do not understand. If you're like, oh, we need a cornerback from Green Bay, what did we use for the determining factor of who gets to go? Like, did you call up Green Bay and be like, hey, who do y'all want to send? We need one more guy at corner. Do you guys have anybody? Oh, yeah, we'll send Keyshawn. If I was Carrington Valentine right now, I'd be like, somebody want to explain to me what's going on here? Because if this is post-Micah, we both stunk. If this is pre-Micah, I was way better than him. So that doesn't make any sense to me why he goes over Carrington Valentine. That's number one. Number two, as pointed out on the Nicolay Law Talking text line from the 608, Nixon making it proves how many players say, yeah, I'm good. Correct. But the other thing that goes along with this that people do not understand, some of these guys get bonuses if they make a Pro Bowl roster. The guys that go, yeah, no, I'm good, probably don't have it. The guys that go, yeah, cool, I'll come play whatever dumb games you want me to play for TV to get my money, probably do have it. And I don't know if Keyshawn Nixon does or not, but I know this. You make an all-pro, pretty much every player in the league, I'm pretty sure, gets $100,000, $200,000, $500,000, whatever it is, they get something. So Keyshawn Nixon, if he's got something, in his contract that says, hey, I get a bonus pop of 100, 150, even if it's 50 G's, whatever.
$250,000.
Ah, see?
According to Spot Track. Yep.
250 G's. He got 250 G's for not being good all year, man. 250 G's. He wasn't any good.
His interceptions, 2 interceptions would have been $50,000. 3 interceptions would have been $100,000. 4 interceptions would have been $150,000 added to his contract. So a Pro Bowl is worth more than that, than real in-season stats.
Yes.
That's insane.
This is the dangerous precedent that this sets. Because now guys are making money that don't, in my opinion, he can be like, oh, you're full of crap, Sparky. If I ever see you on the street. Oh, fair. Hopefully we don't ever meet each other on the street. But he don't deserve it, man. And I'd imagine most other cornerbacks around the league were like, who? You got to be kidding me. Like everybody watches everybody, right? And then again, now you see $250,000. That's a lot of damn money.
That's huge. That's some of these dudes. I guess a guy like Keyshawn Nixon, that's a whole lot of money too that you can't turn down. So even if he feels like he didn't deserve to be a Pro Bowler, he's going to hop in that game for that money because, yeah, why not? It's just crazy to me that, like, I feel like most players would have this type of incentive in their contract or would try to bake it in.
It all depends on how good you are.
And then just take the free vacation. What?
Right. I mean, but I don't know Aaron Rodgers every contract, but I would assume at some point Rodgers like, I don't care about that. We're good. Just put all pro in, whatever. I mean, maybe the H is nitpicking and trying to get him every dollar that he can. But when you're at that, or Giannis, are you really still making a ton of money off all-star appearances?
They still go, and they still want,
I understand.
So, like, if you're going to go, you might as well bake it into a contract, you know?
I guess. 414, Nixon is more understandable than Shedeur being in the Pro Bowl. They lost credibility with those both. Yes, Nixon at least played all year. That You're right. That makes more sense than Shedeur. Yes, I will give that to you. 414, Nicolay Law talking text line, talking about Keyshawn Nixon being named to the Pro Bowl. What does it say to you as far as him making it? 414-677-1250. LOL means nothing to me. Pretty stupid in my opinion. He should absolutely not be in the Pro Bowl, especially as a cornerback. Another one from the 414. The Pro Bowl is a joke. So that explains everything to me. I don't remember. I don't know which one this was. Just even texted back a different 414. The one that said LOL means nothing to me. That one just texted it said, hearing about the bonus pisses me off even more now. LOL. Hey.
Exactly. This is crazy. I mean, the NFL, I don't know how, and honestly, we should have asked this 3 years ago, 4 years ago, whenever Tyler Huntley made the Pro Bowl, because the same way as Shedeur Sanders just made the Pro Bowl, exactly the same way.
Yep.
When he made it, just end it. Just stop doing this, man. Then you don't have to pay these players. Actually, you don't have to waste more time spending money because I feel like it can't be that profitable compared to some other kind of event you could do.
It should just be Pro Bowl rosters. This is for everybody gets bonuses, but there's no game, there's no nothing. It's just for people. They hit their incentives in their contract. It's one Pro Bowl roster for AFC and NFC. Whoever's on the roster, you get your bonuses. Whoever's not doesn't. There's not second, third, fifth, sixth, eighth, 10th alternates to the game, right? Oh, you're the 10th alternate. Lucky you. Nobody else wants to go, so you're going. Congratulations. I'm making $250,000 more than you're going to make, Keyshawn. It's crazy. Crazy.
That's just all pro teams then at that point. And which is what it should be. Just do the all pro teams. Make them matter even more than they already matter.
You should have to be great, or at least good, to go to the Pro Bowl. Do you know who's great? Habish, and Rotier. That's who's great. Want to know why they're great? They've been doing this since 1930, man. We're going on 100 years. They have a national reputation for being great. Not good, not average, they're okay on certain days. No, they're great across the country if you ask about Habish, and Rotier. And you have them here in your backyard. 13 locations across the state. You're on the statewide network. You're in Wausau. Yep, they're there. You're listening in Appleton. Yep, they're there too. You're in Green Bay. Absolutely. Southeastern Wisconsin, Rhinelander, Sheboygan, all over the place. And they're all over the place because they're that good. And when you bring your case to them, you are the most important case. And they're going to do everything for you to make sure you get what you deserve at the end of the day. Check them out today. Habish.com. Again, Habish.com, national reputation, hometown service. Call them up, 800-2HABISH, 800-2HABISH, Habish, and Rotier. Coming up next, you'll hear from Cody Alexander from MatchQuarters.com. We talked to him earlier in the show in the 2 o'clock hour, and this is the best breakdown you're going to hear on the radio. I promise you, I guarantee you, from any radio station you're listening to, nobody does it better than Cody Alexander. He's going to tell you all about Jonathan Gannon and what the Packers have in store for him. So Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Now, on the guest hotline powered by Gruber Law, one call, that's all. He is Cody Alexander, matchquarters.com. You can see his smiling face right there on X and on YouTube at WI Sports Radio. Cody, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it.
All right, man. So I'll just be honest with you straight up. I'm not excited about this hire of Jonathan Gannon as defensive coordinator. I'm not there. And I read your stuff. I was off yesterday, so this is my first day back to kind of like let it all go there in the first segment about this hire. But I read your stuff. You seem more positive, more upbeat than I do about this. I was like, okay, let's get some yin to my yang. And you obviously are far more intelligent in football than I am. So let's talk about this first. So Jeff Hafley's defense, which was a lot of zone, playing everything in front of you, watching teams drive down the field, hoping for mistakes, in which the DBs dropped the football for the Packers, and then hoping to hold to field goals at this point. What difference will the casual fan watching the game on a Sunday see between a Hafley defense and the new defense?
I do think if you go back to when Gannon was at the Eagles, I do think that you're going to see a little bit more man coverage. So I do think that that's a pivot that he can go back to. I don't think you're going to get the 3 safety system that he was trying to run in Arizona. I think that was part of the fact that it was a combination of we don't have players the first 2 years we're there. We also have 3 really good safeties. That's who we want to stay on the field, but we want to play kind of that odd front, that 3-4, and kind of how can we get in that? And then having Budda Baker just allows you to do so many different things because he can play linebacker, he can play safety, he can do a lot of things. So I don't think that package comes, but I do think that the philosophy of what they're trying to do is going to be relatively similar. When you cluster a lot of these teams, when you start looking at, okay, blitz rates, how much are they, what kind of blitzes that they're running, what are the coverages, zone to man, all of those things. You do see Arizona clustered in with, Green Bay a lot of the time. So I don't think that the philosophy wise that this defense is going to change just kind of wholeheartedly. I don't think you're going to get a completely opposite look.
Packer fans wanted Jim Leonhard. Jim Leonhard appears to be headed to Buffalo potentially to be the defensive coordinator there or here at some point. When we talked about this last week, we went over the candidates. I was like, Jim Leonhard's defense does not match up with everybody else on this list that we're talking about as far as what they want to bring. Leonhard is a Mike Pettin, Rex Ryan type defense, more aggressive, more blitzing, more of that type of thing. So when he didn't get the job, I guess I wasn't overall shocked or surprised at this point. But when you bring up, well, you might see more man-to-man, with all due respect to the Pro Bowler Keyshawn Nixon today and Carrington Valentine, I don't like their chances playing man-to-man at this point either, which leaves you to have to play more zone.
No, I 100% agree with you. And I think when you look at this roster, the corner room has to get fixed. Like you haven't had a premium corner really since Jair Alexander was kind of before he kind of fell off a cliff. So I think you do need to rebuild that corner room. That is something that's going to have to be rebuilt. My point with this is that when you do have corners that they feel comfortable with playing man, I think that he can do that and he wants to do that. I think the zone is here to stay. Everybody says that it's bend, don't break, but it's really a lot more nuanced than that, especially with what I think that he was trying to do. If you go back and you look at what he did at the Eagles and then kind of what he was doing with the Cardinals, it was a lot of quarters is what he's really known for. And they ran really good quarters coverages. This wasn't the country four that we see a lot of times where, the pundits love to call it a shell defense or,
right.
Like 4 guys back. You're not getting the deep ball. We're trying to force everything down, kind of like what Hafley was trying to do with a lot of these cover 2 rotations. So he wants to play some matchup. I think it's interesting if you look at his background too. He does have Eberflus in this background, and so
that's not going to help the argument.
I know it's not. But my point with that is that he is not running that system. Trust me, I'm in DFW, so I hear it all the time. So I've heard it enough. No, but my point is that I think when in 22, when they really wanted to get Vic Fangio, they already had Gannon. I think he learned that system, kind of adapted it to what he has. It showed back up. I think a lot of the schematics part of it is what he, in the bones of it, is what he was trying to do in Arizona. So my point being is that this is a defense that works. The system works. I think he knows how to put it together. Now, do I agree that this is a home run hit? Yeah, Jim Leonard would have been awesome. I also don't think necessarily that what you see for the Broncos would be what that iteration would be with the Packers. But I don't necessarily think that this is like Mike McCarthy going to the Steelers.
Okay, so let's talk about this. Cody Alexander, matchquarters.com, amazing website. He's awesome. Follow him on X at _coach_A. On Philadelphia, I see all of this stuff, and it's like, oh, look at all the guys that benefited from Gannon in Philadelphia, and it's all these guys, right? And I kept wanting to tweet back, like, okay, now do Arizona, now do Arizona and see what it. Now I want to see what those numbers look like, right? And they're like, well, he's not calling the defense in Arizona. Okay, fair enough. You brought up the point that last year they were in the upper quadrant there for a good part of the season until injuries beset them. And then that obviously changed how everything played going forward.
100%. I think that they went out and actually bought players this year. They had a defensive line that they felt like was going to actually create some sort of pressure. I think you had Walter Nolan get hurt. There were some different injuries up front, and then the whole entire corner room ended up kind of being a disaster the entire year. They were just rotating bodies through in the back half. And I think with that, I think the other thing with what was going on offensively exacerbates the problem. When you can't move the ball on offense, you're on the field a lot of times. When you're not good on defense, you don't want to be on the field all the time. And so you can see that it's a vicious cycle. But I do think I was really curious this year of how this thing was going to play out. It looked like it was actually doing pretty well. Again, it wasn't going to be a top tier defense, but I feel like it was moving in the right direction. It just didn't get a chance to work. So my only point to this is, like, I agree with you. This is not a home run hit. I think Jim Leonard would have been that home run hit, but I don't think that you are scraping the bottom of the barrel. I think I think you're getting somebody, he knows how to do this. My biggest thing is I think the coverage systems parts of it is going to be fine. Where he was really struggling with in Philadelphia, even in the Super Bowl run, was they just did not have the ability to stop the run. And that was kind of the big black eye. And so that didn't really show up in Arizona either in terms of being able to, are we going to hang our hat on something? They really weren't good at anything. And so I do agree with you. When you look at it on paper, this doesn't look really sexy of a hire. But I do think that you're not necessarily going to fall off a cliff.
Okay, so let me bring this to you, Cody, because a lot of the other people because there are a lot of people spinning this for Gannon and what he did in Philadelphia. They don't want to talk about Arizona, which is fine. But the point is, man, look at what he did with like TJ Edwards. He can make Adrian Cooper that star player in his system like he did TJ Edwards. Cooper, I think, has a chance to be an all-pro if and when, somebody puts him in the right position and he becomes more disciplined and not missing assignments. Can he do that for an Adrian Cooper in this defense? Because if you look at the front four for the Packers, I mean, if they move on from Rashawn Gary, which I think they're going to for cap purposes, outside of Micah Parsons, there's not much there to get a rush of 4 to the quarterback at this point.
Well, I think that that's a big thing. And the one person that I would say go look at is what he was able to do with Mack Wilson Sr. in Arizona. Nobody knew who he was. Nobody knew who he was at all. He was just kind of a bit player for Belichick, just kind of a hybrid edge guy that you kind of throw in there to blitz. And they really supercharged him and were able to kind of move him around and use him as a moving piece. Really, here's the thing. The reason why, if you're sitting here listening, you're like, still, why is he so impressed with what happened in Arizona? I'm a nerd. I probably watched way too much Arizona Cardinals.
That's why you go to matchquarters.com because you'll educate everybody. Yes.
Right. But what they were doing is, imagine if you have a high school team and you just don't have a lot of talent, but the schedule laid out in front of you is going to be basically a bunch of heavy hitters every single week. You're in the NFC West, which obviously is one of the best, if not the best division in football. Yeah. So you're kind of the weak man in that whole division. You have to play all of those teams twice. How are you going to mitigate a lot of the risk that you're taking on with the fact that you have no players, you don't really have premium talent, you have one guy in Budda Baker, and so my point to this is, he took Budda Baker. And look, I get it. You can argue, well, he wasn't calling it. Nick Rawls was. Patrick Toney, who's now at Ole Miss, was there as well. I agree with you. But that's not saying that he didn't learn anything from this or he wasn't in control of that. All of this stuff is synergized through his vision for what they wanted. And I think if you go and you look at the way that he was able to get Mack Wilson Sr. involved in what they were doing, what he was able to do just in terms of in the back end, that secondary was not as bad as you think it was. I think that that's kind of the thing that you need to understand is when everybody was healthy, it was actually not really terrible. He was able to use a guy like Budda Baker. So when I look at this roster of the Packers, and you talk about a guy like Cooper, well, I look at it, what he did with Mack Wilson, moving him down into the edge. You don't know where he's going to be on a single play. He could be towards the field and then all of a sudden blitz off the edge. He could be in the box and blitz through the middle. And so I think that there's a system in place to where he's shown if we can put Micah Parsons on one side and we can use Cooper on the other side. You even got a guy like Quay Walker, who he's a Georgia linebacker, which means he can blitz the A-gap really good. So you have that element in it of it too. So there's a lot of diversity in the front to create pressure. And he's a simulated pressure guy, meaning that he's going to blitz, but it's only going to rush 4. So you're still getting your coverage distributions in the back end. So I do think you have a point there where I should be excited about that because now he's going to amplify his play instead of he's just kind of an off-ball linebacker.
You keep bringing up Budda. So between Xavier and Evan Williams, between McKinney and Evan Williams, does one benefit more than the other from how he likes to play on defense?
I think Williams will, because I think McKinney is one of the best post safeties in the league. You just leave him in the post, let him go be. He's one of those like a traditional center fielder. He can go from sideline to sideline, let him go ball hawk, let him do some things in zone coverage. I think Williams being able to move around, get near the box. I also think your safety room, a guy like Javon Bullard, being able to pop him back. He doesn't always have to play nickel. You can move him around, keep offenses guessing where people are going. I thought Hafley did a really good job, but it was really predictable what kind of Tampa 2 you were going to get. It was going to show single high. You guys were going to run inverted cover 2, meaning that the corners were going to come from outside in. You got a middle safety, which used to be Xavier, just sitting in the middle and kind of being that ball hawk. But I think Gannon's going to bring a different feel for it, being able to change the picture. And so I really think Williams will kind of excel in this. McKinney's already good. I'm not worried about him. You can put him anywhere. But in terms of what can he enhance, I think moving him around will help him out.
I would like to tell you, Cody Alexander of matchquarters.com, a text message that just came in on our Nicolay Law Talking text line from a guy named Ziggy. I know, but it is what it is. His name is Ziggy. He texts all the time. He says, I dare say this interview is getting me excited about the direction of our defense with Gannon. And Cody Alexander, I would like to tell you that you also have gotten me more excited than I was previous to this interview. And that's why I say you're the yang to my yin, whatever. And it makes good sense because again, the Edger and Cooper stuff is big for me because I didn't think they were utilizing him correctly. Now talking about Evan Williams being a playmaker and being utilized differently, which is good. You talking about maybe Hafley, you kind of knew what you were getting playing against Hafley. You won't know that as much against Gannon. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. This was a good interview. We brought you on mainly to get me excited more than anything, and it worked out well, Cody. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I'll say this too. I know when Micah Parsons got injured, a lot of people were thinking, okay, this defense is going to fall off the cliff. Hafley did a really good job of putting together. I think there are limitations at the corner spot. You addressed it. You talked about it. The defensive line probably needs to be cleaned up just a little bit in certain spots. So there are pieces there. This defense was probably middle of the road to begin with. I think Gannon has proven he can give you a top 10, at least in the secondary, he can give you a top 10 defense. He can fix that run defense. I think you're looking at somewhere where we're talking about an above average defense as we move in and start getting players, whether from the draft or free agency.
Tell everybody about matchquarters.com.
Yeah, matchquarters.com is basically a defensive think tank. Like I said, I'm the guy that's watching Arizona Cardinal film. And then I'm talking about what's going on, what are the trends in the NFL and major college football, and I'm basically breaking that down. In the offseason, I'll pretty much cover every team, even the Arizona Cardinals. So.
And when he does, we'll have him back on. On X at @the_coach_A. Follow him. I'm telling you, he was breaking all this Gannon stuff down after the Gannon hire, going back and forth with people. He's a great follow on X too. Cody, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
You betcha. Take care. There he is, Cody Alexander. Earlier today, Cody Alexander, matchquarters.com. Follow him on X at @the_coach_A. It's all defense, and he's super, super good. Definitely want to check that out. Coming up next, things Sparky missed, brought to you by the Milwaukee Admirals. And don't forget about Wendy's. I'm just telling you, just don't do it. Their new biggie deals. Wendy's really outdid themselves with these new biggie deals. $4, $6, and $8. The new biggie deals are bigger and biggier than ever. If you're feeling something snacky, you can get the $4 biggie bites. Feeling something a little bit medium size, get yourself a $6 biggie bag with a junior bacon cheeseburger. If you want to go full biggie, you can get the $8 biggie bundle with your choice of 2 sandwiches, a small soft drink, and a junior fry. The choice is yours. For a pretty biggie deal, it's got to be Wendy's. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome back. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily. See Sparky Fifer with you. Got a text coming in on the Nicolay Law Talk text line. Jason in Germantown, damn good call on getting this guy, Sparky. Guy knows his stuff. By the way, long time no talk. Yeah, he's referencing Cody Alexander from matchquarters.com. Who was just on. It's really, really good. I'm telling you, go back, watch it on YouTube, and go back, listen to it on the podcast form of it at wisportsradio.com as well. Find Wisconsin Sports Daily there, Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, 9 to noon with John Kuhn and Rami Makloff, Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Thundernellis. They're all there. They're broken up by teams as well. So if you're a big Packers fan, best Packers coverage, if you're a big Brewers fan, best Brewers coverage. Speaking of those Brewers, tomorrow night, Hot Stove Weekly with the franchise Tim Allen and Tommy Wirtz. They have the two newest members of the Milwaukee Brewers that they acquired in the trade of Freddie Peralta. Both those gentlemen will be joining those guys tomorrow night between 5 and 7 here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. It's going to be fun.
What story did Sparky miss talking about today on Wisconsin Sports Daily? Don't you worry. Sparky's got you covered now. Don't miss Milwaukee Admirals hockey this season. Don't just buy tickets. Invest in memories at MilwaukeeAdmirals.com.
All right, here we go. Things that we missed on today's show. Sir, start off on the Nicolay Law Talk and text line. This was from like 25 minutes ago. 608. Jacob in Tulsa. Did you see that Belichick didn't make it as a first ballot NFL Hall of Famer? Would love to hear a Sparky rant on this. I hate politics. Jacob, I don't think you're going to want to hear a Sparky rant on this. I just got a feeling you're not going to want to hear what I have to say. Belichick, cheater. So, no, cheater shouldn't get in on the first ballot Hall of Fame. They're just not. And I've been saying this all along. Like,
did cheaters get second ballot Hall of Fame? Like this kind of cheater?
Oh, I'm sure he's going to get in.
But in your
You've
mind,
got all the Super Bowl rings and everything.
First ballot.
I wouldn't put him in. I wouldn't put him in ever. No, personally. No, I would never put him in. But they're going to put him in, right? He's a great defensive mind. One of the best defensive minds the NFL has ever seen. I'm not taking that away from him. I think he's a great defensive mind. But the Spygate, the Deflategate, everything else that goes along with him, I absolutely agree with that. Now, just like when we start talking about best quarterbacks of all time and people want to throw Brady at one, I'm sorry. I'm not doing it. I'm never doing it because, again, he was right there with Belichick in the same boat. So we can disagree and you can be like, everybody cheats, Sparky. They just don't get caught. Well, then they're idiots and they deserve what they get for getting caught. Like, I don't really care. We were talking about this in the break. Tommy Wirtz is here. He's got Wisconsin Sports Wrap-Up coming up from 5 to 7 about like Ryan Braun. He fell off the ballot now for the Baseball Hall of Fame. And it's like, well, his numbers went down. Well, yeah, his numbers went down after he got busted for all this stuff. And remember, he wrecked his knee, he wrecked his back and all of that and was never the same guy at the end of the day.
Yeah, I don't know if Ryan Braun's numbers ever got there. I mean, his peak was Hall of Fame peak, don't get me wrong, but just his career counting numbers, it was never going to happen. Like Bill Belichick is the best NFL head coach of all time. It's not even a question. So,
well, it is. I mean, I'm never going to put him there ever because of the cheating scandal. But you know what else I've noticed about this? Yeah. I've also noticed that this is an age thing too.
Always an age thing.
It is.
You called me ageist earlier, and now you're going to go.
This is the oldest take Sparky has.
On this topic, when it comes to cheating, it definitely is an age thing. Because you talk to people that are older, they all hate it and want it banished and do whatever. Don't ever allow them in. If you talk to people that are younger, they're like, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Just put them in. It's been that way forever. Like if we go back to Barry Bonds and all of that stuff, same thing. The farther you get away from that, those of us that lived through it and all of that other stuff are like, screw him, never. And then the younger people are like, who cares? Look at his numbers in Pittsburgh. Look at this, look at that. Fine. But there has to be, and maybe not in your guys' mind, but in my mind, if you cheat, there should be a significant penalty one way or the other. That's just what there should be. Just like if you gamble on baseball, the thing says, golden rule in baseball, you're done.
Correct.
It's over, Pete Rose. Too bad, so sad.
And then your generation softened up and now is going to let him go in after he died.
I didn't soften up.
Well, that's what happened. That's exactly what happened.
But what is that, though? What does that say to you?
That
after he's dead,
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, fine.
That
if
is
Belichick gets in after I die,
that
then
is
it won't
the
matter to me.
equivalent.
After I die,
Yeah,
I don't care.
That's the equivalent of
what you gotta
over
do.
my dead body. The oldest
Literally.
man saying you can have.
And
yes.
that's that petty crap of I'll put you in, but not so you're dead, so you can't enjoy it.
Right.
That's exactly what it is.
So I think that's just we are on the same page that it is an age thing.
I'm getting a question from the 262. Hey, Sparky, can you say that guy from Match Quarters socials again? Yeah, sure. It's at the _coach _A. I know it's a weird X handle. I know. At the _coach _A. It's Match Quarters, like the coin. Quarters.
We're gonna have to get this guy a
matchquarters.com.
talent fee with all the people loving him right now. Get him on every week.
He was good.
I mean,
he was good. Okay, so I wanted to have Tommy on, not to talk about Belichick necessarily, but I love Tommy Wirtz, and he hosts a leadoff show, and he'll host it again this year, 1 hour before every game, sometimes 90 minutes before a game. And he sends me this text earlier, which is a tweet from Adam McKelvey of Brewers.com. And it says, the Brewers have added these prospects to the list of spring training non-roster invitees. Luke Adams, right? Their first baseman. Tate Keener, is that how you say his name?
Keener, I think it is. Yep.
Keener, left-handed pitcher. I never heard of him. Luis Lara, outfielder. Jesus Made. Cooper Pratt, the shortstop. Ramon Rodriguez, catcher. Brock Wilkin up third. Jet Williams, by the way, saw that. Jet said that he's going to play shortstop.
He wants to play shortstop. Yeah, I played that yesterday. He's saying, I want to play shortstop. But he also then says he wants to play wherever the team wants him to play. So he's very open.
Yeah. My response is you're never playing shortstop. Get used to playing the outfield because we don't need you on the infield. Look at our farm system. You're not playing on the infield. And then catcher Matt Wood. Okay, so let's go over who I don't know. Tate Keener, never heard of him. I do not know Ramon Rodriguez, and I certainly don't know who catcher Matt Wood was. So I did not click on this link, right? The link comes in from McKelvey. I read the text under that from our guy Tommy Wirtz that says, God, I loved Matt. And then the next line is Wood last year too. Don't be shocked. I did not read the tweet yet from McKelvey. So I'm thinking, Matt Schneidman and Ryan Wood. He's talking about how he loved both of them. I'm like, yeah, they were both really good this year. And then I clicked on it and I was like, who the hell's Matt Wood? I'm like, that's what he's talking about. So then Charlie and I, Tommy, both were like, don't know who he is. So I looked up his numbers. He's not any good.
That's completely false.
I walked in here and I asked Tommy after we had that conversation, I go, why do you like Matt Wood?
Yes.
That's exactly what I asked him.
Dude at Wisconsin stunk. Offensive numbers, not good. Double-A, he played well at Double-A last year.
Very good at Double-A.
But look at his he was at Wisconsin for 3 years.
Yeah.
His numbers were not good.
I know. And
Any
then
of them.
he went to Biloxi and figured it out. Even more so. You want to know why he got promoted, Sparky? This is where we need the drop of Jonah Hill, where he gets on base. 371 at Single-A, went to 372 at Double-A.
His OPS 222, 240.
Yeah, he also hit 271 in more games at Double-A, and on top of that, has 786 OPS at Double-A.
That's the best year of his career was at Double-A. My question still holds: why did he get promoted based on what?
They needed catching. They were moving guys up through the ranks.
They needed a body.
And every time we go through every single show on the leadoff show, we go through we build a winner. It's called. It's going through the farm system. Last year, Double-A Biloxi was the best team in the farm. That was statistically the record. They were the best team.
Yeah.
That was after Carolina lost everyone, right? Then Matthew Wood, his name was in there every single day in the box score. On top of it, watching it.
Well, he's playing. He's in the box score, you knucklehead.
Yeah, I understand that. I'm just telling you that Matthew Wood put up numbers last year with Biloxi. He's an older guy in the system. He's not going to be a top 30 guy, but I'm not going to be surprised that if injuries happen, I'm not saying he's going to get his shot to be the backup catcher for the Brewers, but the guy just put up numbers all year last year in Biloxi.
He had a good year.
Absolutely going to get a shot. And if there are injuries, don't be surprised if you hear the name Matt Wood that pops up this year.
I think if we were to go over/under on what those numbers were last year to this year, I think I would take the under that he doesn't do it again.
Well, that's an age thing. So
not an age thing, just that he stunk for 3 years at Wisconsin and got promoted for no reason.
Well, now you're ageist on prospects.
I didn't even know how old he was. You're the one that brought it up.
Yeah.
Ryan in Tosa uses the Nicolay Law Talk text line 920. What about the catcher Cuero? Well, he's on the 40, man, so you don't worry about it.
He's going to be there. Yeah, he's going to be the guy. Matthew Wood's not going to jump him in any way. I'm just saying that
he's going to replace Contreras eventually.
I was surprised Matthew Wood got the invite, and that means the Brewers noticed something too. And you fell in love with Josh Adamczewski last year, and Charlie fell in love.
And they moved him to the outfield. Why? Because they need outfielders.
Right. So I'm just saying that his bat was good last year at AA. Give him a shot. I'm excited to see that. I root for these guys, unlike
this is why
you who doubt one bad 30-game stretch.
3 bad years at Wisconsin. Not one 30-game stretch. Don't do that.
Look,
Tommy Wirtz is why you got to listen to the lead-up show. Nobody's more knowledgeable on that system than Tommy Wirtz that you're going to come across. I promise you. And then him and Tim Allen this year will be doing post-game shows, Potawatomi Sportsbook post-game shows after each and every game of throughout the season. So looking forward to hearing Tim and Tommy. And then tomorrow night, you'll hear from Sprout and from Jet Williams on Hot Stove Weekly from 5 until 7. I'm looking forward to that as well. So that's going to be good. I didn't hear if you all talked about it. Did you all on the Mason Crosby show today with Mitch Thunder and Ellis talk about the chancellor at Madison going to Columbia?
Columbia, yeah. I know everyone's really bummed that Jen Munkin is moving on, as you can tell, based on social media.
Colton Bartholomew.
I'm pretty sure that I had Rebecca Blank when I was there, I believe.
Yes.
But not Rebecca Black. That's different, right?
Correct.
Yeah, that's the singer.
Right.
But yeah, she was there. I never interacted with Munkin.
Yes, but this whole thing was based around her and McIntosh finding this magic pot of money, and here we go. Now all of a sudden she's going to Columbia. Is the next chancellor going to come in and go, no. We're not going to do all this. We're not doing all this.
Or we're going to find out the Badgers cheated, and anything they do after that shouldn't count.
Why would you even say that on the radio? Tommy Wirtz, Steve Sparky, Pfeiffer, more positivity from Tommy Wirtz coming up from 5 to 6 with Wisconsin Sports wrap up. And of course, tomorrow morning, 6 to 9 inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. That'll do it for Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Enjoy your night, Wisconsin. Toodles.